I was streaming. Yeah, but I'm right by the street too.
Oh,
I'm
you
right
are?
by like this major street. So any moment you're gonna hear it coming down my road.
Same
Trust.
here. Same here. So yeah, we just have to keep his name out there because it seems like every day there's something new to divert our attention away from the main question: what happened to Nolan Wells? You know what I'm saying? And all these threats of lawsuits against content creators. One thing I must say, it really touched me that Ben Crump in yesterday's press release stood for the content creators. He specifically said, I'm standing with the content creators. Don't stop talking about it. And the man people can say what they want about him, but the man knows what he's doing. He knows
Yes.
exactly what he's doing. He's handling this thing exactly as he should. And we're just content creators. They think we stupid. But truth be told, personally, I think it's the content creators that have cracked this case as wide as it is. I don't know. Maybe y'all might not agree, but let's see. Michelle says, I've taken a break for several days. My daughter was very happy when I told her that I stepped back. Oh, the corruption. Absolutely, sweetheart. Absolutely. Absolutely. So how's it going with you, Lady Latesha? Maybe she stepped away. Lady Latesha, did you step away, sweetheart? I think she did. I'll just keep talking. That's what I do best. I talk a lot. Sometimes you got to stop me and tell me, okay, hold your roll, slow your roll. You're getting beside yourself, and ahead of yourself, and behind yourself. Matter of fact, you know what? Hold on just a sec. I'm going to close this window. Hold on just a second. Okay, everybody, I'm back. I had to close my window because too many sirens are going by, and I don't know what's going on out there. As long as they ain't coming to my house, I'm cool. Oh, hi, Lisa Bruno. Hello, Monique. Good to see you guys. Are you there, Lady Oh, there you are.
Yes, I
There
had
you
stepped
are.
away too. Sorry about that. I didn't
Okay.
like the shirt I had on. So I had
Well,
to
no, I was
regroup.
just asking you how are things going on your end?
It's going great. There's always drama at my house. So, you got to be careful.
I know what you
So,
mean.
I got a few things I'm going to be talking about. I'm really interested in this conversation about Nolan just by me and you on the phone. It was so interesting. But I was being nosy today, and Amani is still talking about children and the situation, and it's just annoying. And it's one of those things you just have to ignore because I could make it bigger than what it is, and there's no need to do that.
Yeah.
But I just find them very immature and sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other things I have in Fort Worth, Texas, here in my town, something happened to a young lady, road rage. And then some other, I was going to update us about Perez Hilton. His sister came out and said some stuff. And that might be it when we get to it.
tell me about the young lady in Fort Worth, because I might have heard about that. Was that 18-year-old?
I think she was a teacher, and she was on the road, and there was this guy, and they I guess was they he started arguing with the lady or fussing with her. He pulled out a gun and shot her and
Oh
killed her.
my God.
And then he left the scene. They found him. He's in jail now.
Okay, good. Golly, and nobody know. We don't know why. What
Just
instigated
road
that?
rage, just people mental. I think it's our mental health. People's mental health is being challenged with all the issues that are going on within
Yeah.
our own personal lives.
Mhm.
And that young man snapped, and now his life is over.
Jesus. I am so sorry to hear. Was this do they believe it might be racially motivated or just
No, it was a black man shooting a black woman, pretty
oh my
much.
God.
Mhm. Yeah, because at first I was wondering, was she a white lady? You know what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying?
Mhm.
But no, she wasn't. She was actually black. And I think she was a teacher. Hmm.
My goodness. Well,
Yeah,
nowadays you got to be careful how you
you do.
conduct yourself out on these roads because you don't know who's driving next to you. You don't know if they've gone through something and they're on the verge of snapping. And, sometimes people cut you off and stuff like that. And it ain't like it used to be where, you could get mad and say something and flip them off and stuff like that. People are reacting to the slightest things nowadays.
Yeah.
You gotta be
Mhm.
careful.
It's something else. I got one more story
Uh-huh.
that I'm going to end with. This little baby was thrown. This nurse threw the baby in the incubator, and the husband saw it. And that's all I'll say for now. And then until we get to,
What?
these are my hot topics. I hope they're not too depressing.
No, 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 no. But I mean, again, look at the world we living in right now.
Yeah,
That's very disturbing.
yeah, it is.
My God. My God. Well, let me just touch a little bit on Nolan Wells. There's so much. I can't keep up with it all. And see, I'm not as technologically advanced as I'd like to be. So I do a lot of my notes handwritten, and I'm suffering from writer's cramp right now. I got that Fred Sanford thing going on, but it's just a lot. It's a lot to keep up with, and every day there's something new that I want to talk about it, but I can't jam it all into one live, and I can't
Right.
expound on it in one live. You know what I'm saying? And then I find myself falling behind. I want to report on it that the day it happens, and then what do? I eat a steak and fall asleep. So there, the rest of the day is gone. But one thing I could talk about actually the first thing with regard to the Nolan Wells case, and I'm sure a lot of people have already seen the interview that Nancy Grace had with the two attorneys that are representing three of the young men. And he's representing, actually, Tyler Cox is his name, because there's two attorneys. Tyler Cox represents Warren Hudson, which is the main mouthpiece of the group of young men. And then there's Jax Patalo and Morgan Seymour. He represents those three. And then there's this other dude. God, what is his name? I had it written down. He's a weird looking thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who he represents. I didn't even get to write it down, but
But one of the
whatever
other
it is.
boys,
Huh?
one of the other boys he represents.
Yeah, I think. Actually, no. He represents the same three, but he's the defamation lawyer. That's what it is.
Oh.
I remembered. See, I don't have Alzheimer's yet. I don't have dementia yet, so I can remember
Oh,
some
you're
things.
good, girl.
But they got on the Nancy Grace show. Oh my God. Well, first of all, who in their right mind would get on her show of all people and
Not me.
get cocky with her? I'll let you guys see this if you haven't done so already. Let me turn my music down so you guys can hear this. Oh my God, this interaction. I'll share my screen. Ooh, if I share my screen, well, let me see if that'll work. Nope, I gotta stop that screen to share Nancy Grace. Why can't we put them all up in order that we want to use them? Oh my goodness. Okay, we're gonna look at Nancy Grace's interview. Okay. And mind you, these two attorneys got really, really cocky. Especially the one on the bottom that's wearing the white baseball hat that says call Cox, which is in reference to the dude on top. So the bottom attorney is wearing a baseball cap saying call the dude on top. Go figure with that one. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. But nevertheless, let me go ahead and share this with you. Okay.
Wells death bombshell. Joining us tonight, Nolan's friends' lawyers fight back. Who's telling the truth? They think they know, but do they? I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us. There's a big honking mark, subcutaneous, deep reddening tissue on his occipital. If I hit somebody in the back of the head, it'd be right there.
There was no indication that there was any kind of contusions on the hand, the arm, no kind of defensive event.
Back to Officer Tatum, star of The Officer Tatum on YouTube. Have the friends taken polygraphs?
Well, from my understanding, all but I believe one took a polygraph. And from what was told to me, that they all passed. And all of the ones that took a polygraph took one without a lawyer. And they cooperated with law enforcement. So from my understanding, everybody took a polygraph test.
Why do you say that's from what
one.
You understand? Did they tell you they took a poly and passed?
Yes, ma'am. They told me that they did it. I wasn't there. So that's why I'm saying from my understanding, they told me that all the boys except one, which is Warren, I believe, took a polygraph test. All of them did not have lawyers and did it and cooperated with police. Warren also cooperated with police. I just believe he didn't take a lot to take the test, but Warren is the young man that I interviewed. So according to what they told me, they all took a lot of tech tests and passed. And it's an equivalent of a lot of tech test. It's not a traditional lot of tech test, but it's the same theology of trying to get to if a person is lying. I don't know the name of it. It's an equivalent of a lot of tech tests. It's a different methodology. I don't believe it was a polygraph test. I believe they took other stressors in order to analyze if the people were telling the truth or not. So then the answer to
did they take a polygraph would be no.
I thought that was hilarious, first of all.
It was perfect.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's just the tip of the iceberg. She came out with, and the cold part about it is she could have come stronger. She could have just knocked him out in and there, but she gave them just enough ground, or should I say Brandon, but wait till you see the interview with the two attorneys. Okay. Now, I'm not even going to waste my time with Brandon. Honestly, there's some things. Let me tell you one thing that I did discover about Brandon Tatum. Okay. And you'll even see in the interview with the two attorneys, there is a bottle of alcohol that you're going to see behind the one on top, Tyler Cox. Okay.
Auntie Mickey, just a
Mhm.
second. Shelly has the question. Michelle, I don't know about that restaurant, but if you're here at the end of Auntie Mickey's presentation, then I could look it up and we can go from there. Thank you, Auntie Mickey.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So, where was I? You're going to notice there's a bottle of alcohol right behind Tyler Cox in his frame. And if you look at one of Brandon's interviews, not this particular one that he had with Nancy Grace, but any other one, he has the same bottle behind him. And so I checked into it because I was curious why, from what it looks like is that they're taking sponsorship money. They're sponsoring for someone, so they're advertising for something. So I looked into it, and guess who owns that company or is partnership with that company that makes and sells that alcohol? Take a wild guess.
Okay. One of them boys' relatives.
Mm-mm. I'm gonna give you one more try.
The lawyers. It's the lawyers advertising stuff. Which one, Auntie Mickey?
Brandon Tatum.
Oh, it's his.
It's his. So now I bring that up because the big accusation out there is that, especially us content creators, we're grifting and we're using this whole thing to make money. This is all about profiting and da 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 da. And here you are on YouTube and wherever else they are, giving interviews with Nancy Grace with the same alcohol that you made and is selling, and you're profiting off.
Is in view.
You're selling your alcohol during your interview. But who's making money? Who's making money off of this? Don't point the finger.
Deep for that one.
Don't point your finger at everybody because you got three or four more pointing back at yourself.
Exactly.
I just thought I'd bring that up because I thought that was real ironic. And Cox has the same alcohol bottle behind him when you see that interview with Nancy Grace. You're going to see the same alcohol, and the name of it is called Verdict Bourbon. You can even look it up. Google it, Verdict Bourbon.
Wow.
And you'll find that Brandon Tatum is in partnership. Actually, it was him, from what I understand. It was his company, and he's basically partnered up with someone else. But he's advertising his own bourbon. He created it. Isn't that ironic?
We're doing it for clicks and views.
Yeah, we're getting clicks and views, but you're advertising your product while you're doing an interview about a case. Isn't that special?
Oh God, how low can he go?
It's special. But oh my God, I could keep talking. I'm gonna go ahead and just go through with
that. Is
now.
Officer Tatum from the Officer Tatum on YouTube. Joining us tonight are two very special guests. They are convinced of the friends. And when I say quoties, I don't mean they are or they're not friends, because I don't know. The young men on the Triton boat that took Nolan Wells to Horn Island. Many argue he was on the boat on the return when foul play occurred. Many argue he was not. In fact, the timeline has blown up because there are reports that Nolan Wells was seen on the island after the friend's boat left, which would exonerate them. Is that true? I don't know, and I'm trying to find out. For me, nobody's guilty and everybody's a suspect.
Now, let me interject this. They've been threatening, especially little man at the bottom. Little man at the bottom with the Carl Cox hat on. He's been out there throwing his chest out as he did in the interview with the 3, 4 boys, whatever. I think it was 3, 4 of them. I don't know. Shit.
Oh, he was the one that was sitting with them?
He was the one dressed up just like him. Just like the boys. Or men. I'm sorry. I keep calling them boys, but they're men. They're grown-ass men.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And he was dressed up just like them. So it was 3 guys and him. The little dude at the bottom with the hat on. And he had on that same hat during the interview. So I done lost my train of thought. I done let this shit go. So I'm so...
He seems very cocky.
Ooh, he is. He's very cocky. Okay. But I'm going to go ahead and play this some more so I can get my train of thought back. Hold on just a second. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. Nancy gave that so-called disclaimer. I'll call it a disclaimer because they've been out there threatening to sue everybody for defamation. So when we speak of this case, we can't just come out and say they did it or they unalived Nolan Wells because that's considered defamation. And she's making it very clear that she don't know.
Right. And I like how she said it because she said, but everybody's a suspect.
Right. Well, and not only that, all the content creators, especially the bigger ones, there are some out there that I have seen that I cringe. I really cringe because they
Caught up.
what they really believe, and it comes out in such a way that they leave themselves open for defamation
or trouble,
a defamation suit. So just what she said is what I said. I'm not saying that they did anything. I'm saying that their behavior was suspicious.
Yeah, and still is.
Extremely suspicious. Okay? And the timetables keep shifting. All over the place. So let me go ahead and finish, pull this up some more.
Because we don't know the truth yet, but we will. Joining us tonight, Tyler Cox, the lawyer for several of the young men with the law firm Taylor and Cox, him being the Cox. Also with us, another veteran trial lawyer, Edward Pulsick, attorney for the boys as well. Actually, they're not boys. They're adults in the eyes of the law due to their age. Gentlemen, thank you for being with us tonight. My first question to clear up this matter, have your clients taken polygraphs? First to you, Tyler Cox.
Nancy, my clients have not taken a polygraph test. And I can tell you why. Because any lawyer worth their salt is going to tell their clients not to take a polygraph test under any circumstances. 2 of my clients went in and made statements with me. We're not going to not going to do a polygraph test because, one, as you know, they're not admissible in court. And so it wasn't going to be admissible anyway. You should never, ever, if you're...
Y'all see that bottle? Y'all see that bottle?
See it.
That's it. That's the bottle I was telling you about. That is the bourbon. Verdict bourbon.
Auntie Mickey, what is he talking about? They're not going to take a test.
Well, they don't have to. It's not even, to be honest with you, what he's saying is absolutely true. It is not, number one, it's not recommended by any defense attorney that your client take a polygraph. Okay.
So it's voluntary. They can't subpoena him to do it?
No, because it's not a reliable test. Okay. It's not very reliable. You can be telling the truth, and sometimes that'll come off as a lie. So it's not it's not required that you take a polygraph. It's not recommended by attorneys to, or should I say, attorneys do not recommend that their clients, as a matter of fact, they usually prohibit their defense clients to take a polygraph because they're
Wow.
not as reliable as they,
I didn't
I
know
would
that.
think they should have been designed to be. I don't know the point in having them if you can't rely on them.
Mm,
But
right.
I'll let them speak further on that. I can say I think Nancy touches on it some more in here when we get to that segment. Hold on.
For a lawyer, allow your clients to take a polygraph test. Now, we allowed investigators from the jump to have access to their phones, their Life 360, everything. We have cooperated implicitly every step of the way. But no, they didn't take polygraphs tests. But what I'll tell you is one of the other boys, who I won't mention their name, but I'm sure that you've heard, took one. The girl that Nolan was with took a stress analysis voice test, and so did the other boy. So that's the test they took. Both of them passed.
Now she brought that up because she asked Brandon Tatum in that interview that was at the very beginning of this clip if they had taken a polygraph, and he said yes. All but one person had taken a polygraph. That turned out to be a bold-faced lie.
He's a liar.
As a matter of fact, he said, "Oh, well, they didn't." After he said that they did, then he kind of backpedaled and said, "Well, it wasn't exactly a polygraph. It was the equivalent to a polygraph, yada yada yada." And basically, she broke his face and said, "So, in other words, no." So, yeah. So he's been caught in one lie.
And so, again, no lawyer worth the salt is going to tell his clients to take a polygraph test or anything like that.
I would like to corroborate part of what Tyler Cox just said. Any defense attorney, whether they're truly convinced their client is innocent or guilty, they're not going to allow a poly. I've never seen that. I've had a couple of lawyers, maybe 3, in all the years I practiced, all the people I put behind bars, consent before trial to a poly. 3. And they were all criminal cases that carried severe penalties. So what he's saying is true. Even if you think your client is innocent, very rarely will you see a defense lawyer say, sure, take a poly. However, I disagree with you regarding their admittance into court. Polygraphs are allowed in civil trials. O.J. Simpson, he flunked horribly. And if both sides stipulate to the polygraph's admittance before the polygraph is taken, it can come into a criminal trial. The reality is that never happens. That never happens.
Right. At the time that we first cooperated with police, the first very week, the days after, just 1 to 2 days after the disappearance of Nolan Wells, we're not thinking about a civil suit. We're not thinking about that. We're thinking about how can we provide as much information to authorities so that they can find Nolan Wells. And it was not until after we spoke to officers and investigators that Nolan, unfortunately, his body was found on Horn Island, washed up. And it's unfortunate. And I hate that for Nolan, because by all accounts, he was an incredible person. He was just truly remarkable in almost every sense of the word. But
it's funny the way that they are love bombing Nolan now that he's gone.
Weird. Like he's alive.
Then, I mean, honestly, the way that they are love bombing on Nolan, but they slip every now and then and kind of show their true selves when they're referring to Nolan as though he was like a third wheel.
Right. That's exactly.
Okay. Including this dude here. Because he don't know these boys from Adam. I don't care.
Hello.
I mean, honestly, he's being paid to defend them. So he's going to say what he's supposed to say.
Exactly. He's going to defend.
Okay. So, I mean, just take that with a grain of salt.
But I mean, we're not thinking about a civil suit.
Yeah, you are.
At that point in time, we're trying to help authorities.
They're thinking more of a civil suit than anything. And it really comes off in, I did this in an earlier live, that there's some people out there that have stuck their chests out like they know some stuff going on behind the scenes. And if that's the case, then that means that this investigation has been compromised. Chris Cuomo came out publicly with his chest literally stuck out and said that he has a source that he will protect. Now, I'm not quoting him verbatim, but he said that he had a source a source that he's going to protect, and he was told yada 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 about the autopsy and toxicology reports, and even revealed what was revealed to him. That caused a lot of eyebrows to raise. And then these attorneys get out there with this confidence as well. And that was actually shown on the Don Lemon show. It was an audio of this attorney that said he'd bet his entire career on the phone situation. So how do you know this? How do you know this information? How do you know information about the toxicology report and the autopsy that the parents don't even know yet?
Right.
So there's reason to I won't even say assume, but suspect that this investigation could have very well been compromised.
Yeah. Very much so. What happens then, Auntie Mickey?
I don't. Well, what has happened now is that the National Black Caucus has basically come forward and they're asking the federal government to step in. Because remember, this is federal land. Horn Island is federal land.
Oh.
It's federal land. It's not state
That
land.
would be better, though, wouldn't it? Federal get involved as long as Trump don't sneak in.
Well, and that's another thing. This other attorney, Mr. Goo Head at the
bottom,
he's a Trump attorney. He's one of Trump's attorneys. So, why would the family trust them?
Right, right. Yeah.
They're making a deal about the phone and all this stuff, and I'll probably go through that as well. But I don't want to take up this whole because you got your hot topics to talk about as well. But I just wanted to bring this out to the forefront and let little bit of information out here.
Find a friend who we can't find either.
Edward Polczyk joining us in addition to Tyler Cox, both of them veteran trial lawyers. He is with Taylor Dykema.
With his cocky ass.
Edward, how did you get involved in this case?
Well, I'd rather not talk about that. I can just tell you this. I can tell you that it was through a friend of a friend.
Are you serious?
What's funny?
Are you serious? This is how, wait a minute. You gonna say that to Nancy Grace of all people? Of all people? You gonna say that to Nancy Grace? I'm gonna just click the button again. I'll let you see how she handles it. Because she handled it with more grace than I would expect.
This is Trump's lawyer, right?
Yes. He is a defamation attorney.
But he don't want to tell us how he came about.
He don't want to say how he got involved with the case. He's involved with the case because they want to go after people. This dude here is hired to basically go after content creators and sue them for defamation because that's what he is. He's a defamation attorney.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Hold on.
You're kidding, right? You're kidding me. Because when you tell me I'd rather not answer.
Well, I want to protect the names that
igniting me to find out how you got involved in the case.
Well, hold on. I can tell you a little bit more. I can tell you this. I can tell you a close friend who knows the Ocean Springs, Mississippi community very, very well, is from the area, connected me to a friend of his And then I found myself speaking to Tyler here, and Tyler and I instantly became very close friends.
How convenient.
We both have blue pickup trucks, so now we're the Blues Brothers. We just became very close. We hit it off.
This isn't funny.
How convenient.
This is appalling.
Is
He's
this,
sitting
I
here
mean,
like
is
this
this
is some type of
serious?
joke. Now we're Blues Brothers
Yeah,
because
I mean,
of all this.
are
Someone
they
has passed away,
serious?
idiot.
Boy, I'm telling you the truth. What people won't do for money. But the content creators are the grifters. You know, the content creators are the ones that are out here just for to get the clicks and the views and to collect money off of this case. And I'm sure he collected quite a bit of money. If he hasn't done so already, he's about to. But he's going to collect more money than all the content creators put together on this case. So who's grifting who? Who's profiting? Who's really profiting off of this case?
Then I had the opportunity to speak to Warren, speak to Morgan, speak to Jax, and we hit it off also. And I immediately realized these are incredibly fine young men. I realized
Okay,
right
hold
away
on.
I wanted to help them out.
Ed, to you and Tyler, I'm not saying they have lied, and I'm not saying they haven't lied. I don't know. I have no reason to disbelieve your clients or to believe them. But you do know that people can look you right in the face and lie through your teeth, and you believe them. I've done it. I've had witnesses that I found out were lying to me, and it was a huge blow. I've had police officers. I worked a child trafficking case. My first child trafficking case. Worked it. I finally found the little girl. I went into a room full of sex workers. They went, she's in there. I'm like, there's no child in there. They went, she's the one in the white boots. She looked like she was 38 years old. She's 14.
Wow.
That said, we won the case. But fast forward about 10 months later, I was walking through the grand jury room and I saw these horrible federal court sketches. I'm like, oh my stars. Is that who I think it is? It was my vice cops. They had been stealing from dopers and they got indicted by the feds. And I had been out on the street with them every day for months trying to prove a child trafficking case. So just because somebody tells you the sky is blue does not mean the sky is blue. You do know that, right?
Well, I can tell you this: they were off Horn Island at 4:30 p.m. on July 4th, and Nolan Wells was seen alive.
Now we're getting somewhere. How can you prove that to me other than them telling you? I assume you've got GPS tracking and the call to CTO.
We have witnesses among other things, but I can also tell you this: they were off the island at 4:30 p.m. and Nolan Wells was seen alive by multiple people at 6 p.m. still on the island. And I'm sure Tyler would be happy to elaborate on that. But this is a no doubt 100%.
Please tell me, Tyler,
Yes.
because I don't believe any of these people, and I don't disbelieve any of these people.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's really ironic that you're going to notice that throughout this entire interview, the only piece of evidence that they bring to the forefront is this picture/video of them on a boat. And the major contention of this video from between them and Nancy is, do you have a timestamp? I'm gonna let them take it from here. Remember that timestamp. Do you have a timestamp? In other words, this is your evidence that you're submitting to prove that Nolan wasn't on the boat. But we have no idea when this was taken, what time it was taken, what day it was taken. We don't know when it was taken, but you want us to believe that this is a video that was taken the day of the 4th, the same day that Nolan disappeared. Okay? Just keep that in mind. The audacity of it.
I want to hear about witnesses that spotted him alive after 4:30, because I believe I can confirm the boat left around 4:30. And I'm referring to the Triton. That's the boat they were
Well,
on.
so
There are a lot of boats. Let's see the video of all the boats out there. So when I say Triton, I'm talking about the boat Nolan was on the way to the island. There's a lot of boats out there and a lot of witnesses too. This is from the Officer Tatum. Okay. There are witnesses placing him there at 6. And I want to be very clear, gentlemen, that I'm not convinced he drowned just because somebody said so.
Thank you.
Even if he did drown, that does not mean that there wasn't foul play. Why is that mark on the back of his head? Was he hit on the head and fell in the water? Was he held under the water? Was it an accident? I don't know. But I am very interested in witnesses that place him alive at 6 p.m.
Now, I'm going to stop right there for a moment. If you haven't seen my previous video, and I gave my take on what I suspect might have happened in terms of what might have killed him or unalived him, I'm sorry, a possibility. If you're familiar with jujitsu, just keep this in mind. If you're familiar with the art of jujitsu, there is a specific chokehold that can unalive you very quickly, and it's called the naked chokehold. Feel free to look it up. You can Google it, and it'll show you the actual technique. And I showed a video of the actual technique where you take one arm, put it in front under the chin, and then your other arm goes behind the back of the victim, which can very well explain that red mark in the back of his head without breaking the skin, mind you, because according to the autopsy, the skin was not broken where that red mark is. That red mark is under the skin. So I'm just throwing that in there as something to keep in the back of your head. Pardon the pun. Sorry about that.
Please tell me, Tyler Cox.
So, Nancy, look, we have had multiple witnesses reach out to us, 2 confirmed witnesses that saw Nolan Wells on the island around 6 p.m. on July 4th, well after the Triton, as you said, left around 4:30. And so those witnesses have went to investigators, they've talked to the police, and they've done what they're supposed to do. We've cooperated 100%. So has
Where did they
those
see
witnesses.
him, Tyler Cox? Where did the witnesses see them? Do they know him well enough to make a positive ID? Hey, speaking of a positive ID, control room, please pull up a photo that we showed a couple of days ago. There are 2 or 3 women, white females, walking along the beach, as I recall, each clad in a bikini. There is one, I believe, a white male and one black male walking with them. That can you zoom in a little bit? That's not really helping me that much. For instance, did your witnesses know Nolan? Can they identify him? Because I'm looking right at this and I cannot identify if the male behind the female on the white, the female wearing a white hat, I can't tell if that's Nolan or not. It's a very blurry photo.
Y'all hit that.
I can't make it out. So, do your witnesses know him? I mean, let me see my guess, please. Mr. Polczyk, Mr. Cox, I know the 2 of you. I don't see both of them. There they are. The 2 of you have tried a lot of cases, as have I. To get in or attack an eyewitness, and it's in the code, the official code of Mississippi annotated. There are prescribed methods under which you cross-examine an eyewitness. For instance, does the witness know the target? Was the lighting sufficient? How far away was the witness? What were the conditions of the eyewitness identification? Was the eyewitness inebriated or high or otherwise incapacitated? How far away were they? Do they wear glasses? It goes on and on and on. It's laid out in the code. Tell me about these witnesses. How do they know it was Nolan? Hey, control room, show me that picture of Nolan on the boat.
Before you guys go, before
He
you
is
see
killing
that,
it.
okay? But just to add insult to injury, let me throw this in there because I don't think she brings this up. But 2 days after Miss Brantley, you know, the young African American woman that kind of cleaned up the audio of the CETO call,
Yes.
2 days after she cleaned up that audio is when this all of a sudden there's 2 witnesses that saw him there after 6 o'clock. We still have yet to know who they are or anything more. We don't know anything else about them, but just coincidentally,
I don't believe it.
2 days after she cleaned up that audio and we heard that audio cleaned up.
I don't believe they have any witnesses. And whatever witnesses they have, they didn't see Nolan.
I just think it's ironic after almost 30 days into this thing, and then suddenly 2 people appear out of nowhere to say that they saw him on the island at 6 o'clock.
Yeah. And like she said, we need to cross-examine that.
He's bent over. All I can see are his legs and his behind. The only reason I think that's Nolan is because it matches his swimsuit. Did they see that? How can they identify Nolan? First to you, Tyler.
Well, I'm not sure if the witnesses saw that picture that you just put on screen, but I can confirm to you that these witnesses know Nolan. They've known him for a long time. They were able to make a positive ID. And they told that to investigators. They told them that from the very start.
Had they been drinking?
That I do not know.
How are they sure it was 6 o'clock? Look, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm asking the questions I would ask in court. How do they know it was 6 o'clock? Did they go, oh, there's Nolan Wells at 6 p.m.?
Well, I'm pretty sure, Nancy, they were aware of the time. I'm not sure if they were drinking or not.
Wouldn't you be a little bit more sure if you're going to use testimony of a couple of witnesses? Wouldn't you have a little bit more information on
He's
those?
using his case. That's what he's doing.
Doesn't sound like doesn't sound like he don't know what he should know. I'll just put it that way.
Right. He should be sure.
Yeah.
He's not. He's stumbling.
Yeah.
But they're the ones that came forward to police and investigators, and that's their story to tell. What I'm telling you is they made a positive ID on Nolan Wells around 6 o'clock, and they told that to investigators, all while our clients were off the island around 4:30. So we have positive identification on Nolan on the island an hour and a half after our clients left.
Auntie Mickey.
Yes, ma'am.
They left. I thought
That's-
they left at 4:30.
The boys left the island at 4:30. They claim
saying
that
that
they
they
left
arrived
Nolan behind. The contention is that they really did. It's believed by many people that they did not leave Nolan behind on that island, that they believed that he was on the boat when they left, because nobody else but these 2 people that appeared out of nowhere saw him after 6 o'clock. Nobody else saw him after 4:30 or 4 o'clock or whatever, 4 or 4:30.
4:30.
Okay.
And he said they left at 4:30.
They said they left at 4:30, but see, there's a story behind that too. And I'm just going to tell everybody because it would take me forever to go over all of this stuff and even show you the press conference or the the conference with the parents, because I really want you guys to see that.
Yes,
But
yes, yes.
if you guys get a chance, go and watch Tisa Tell's video from this afternoon. She's making them. It seems like they coming out every hour with new information. But Tisa Tells came out with a video pretty much debunking, and I thought I'd said something about this last week, debunking the GPS. Well, not debunking the GPS, because GPS is just, you can't argue it.
Coordinates.
But according to their definitions or their explanations, they said that they called the CETO, which in
Right.
fact it is confirmed that they called CETO at 4:00. Okay. And it is also confirmed that they left the island at 4:31.
Yeah, that's not making sense.
Okay. I'm just going to tell you guys to look at Tisa Tells. I don't want to give her information like that. So
Okay.
you guys just watch Tisa Tells from this afternoon, and she can explain it much better. That girl is on. She should be an attorney. She really should. Thank
Wow.
you,
She
Cece.
is investigating
Thank
this.
you.
You're
Tisa
doing a
Tells,
wonderful job too, Auntie Mickey.
thank you, but
I
nothing
want
like
you to
this
know
girl.
that.
Child, Tisa Tells is the truth. Okay, I'm just an old lady and
You're doing
barely
it.
hanging into this thing, boy. I'm telling you. So let me go ahead and click this again.
So, as you know from your experience as a prosecutor, they can't do two things at once. They can't be on the island at 6:00 and be on the boat going off the island at 4:30. So that's where we are. Our clients have nothing to do.
I will say this. Let me just say this. At the time that they were talking on the CETO call, the coordinates that they gave, if you listen to the recording, the CETO recording, everybody was paying attention to what was going on in the background and all that stuff. But if you listen to what they were saying, there was a conversation between the Wyatt and the dispatcher, and she asked him for his coordinates, and
Yeah.
the coordinates that he provided were on the edge of Horn Island. It was aground. The vessel was aground. But he
Oh,
told her
it wasn't in the it was on ground.
it was aground. They're sinking, remember?
Right.
They're sinking, but they're on ground, okay? Which did not coincide with what they told her, that they're out there in 31 feet of water.
Right.
So when they made the phone call, they were aground saying that they were out there, but they weren't out there. They were aground. And they
Oh.
were saying, we're sinking, we're sinking, we're sinking. Simultaneously, the grandpa is on the phone with the captain. And when dispatch calls the captain, and she says, yeah, we got some kids on here and they're freaking out because I'm just paraphrasing. They're freaking out because they're sinking, and the captain knew exactly who she was talking about, named the grandfather by name.
Mm.
I just got off the phone with him, and he said, you don't need to send a tow. They're all right. In other words, they didn't need the tow aground because they told her that they were 31 feet of water, which was way out there, 2 miles or so away. They
Right.
hadn't left the island yet when they made that phone call.
Oh.
You follow me?
They hadn't left. They had just made it.
According to the call, the GPS, the timestamp to the call, And the coordinates that were
Wow.
given, the math wasn't mathing.
No.
I'm just going to put it out there like that. Let
Mhm.
me go ahead and proceed.
With the death of Nolan Wells, we don't know how he died. We want to know. Please tell us. Somebody. We want to know just as much as anyone else. Our clients loved Nolan Wells. They were brothers to Nolan Wells. I've still yet to hear one bad thing about Nolan Wells. He was a good Ocean Springs
You know, he
kid.
was
Just as
good.
Chuck Bordy says all
We
the
know
time in
he
the
was
courtroom,
good.
these are good Ocean Springs people.
Okay.
So Nolan was a good Ocean Springs person too.
That has
They
nothing
love
to do
Nolan.
with this case.
We want to know. Will someone
Okay, just
please
stop right there,
tell us?
Tyler. Tyler, I've got 1
Mhm.
hour
Thank
and
you.
nobody's running for miscongeniality. Let's just let it be noted, judicial notice. They were all good. Everybody's good. Okay. Tyler,
Yes.
the witnesses that came forward, here's something that would tend to corroborate them is if multiple witnesses said the same thing. Witnesses separated in time and space, witnesses that are not all friends, witnesses that are not good friends with your clients, that may have a reason to be fuzzy on the time. I'm not saying they are or that they're not. Here's my question to you. Are these witnesses friends of your clients?
I don't think they're friends, and they're not even the same age.
Okay. Next question. How many witnesses place him there on the island at 6-ish?
At least 2 that I know.
2. Do the witnesses know each other?
Yes.
Were they together that day?
Yes.
Have they had a chance to discuss their recollections with each other before they came to police?
Well, I'm sure they did. Nancy, look, they did what they were supposed to do, and they spoke to police officers. And you know as well as I do that if investigators or a DA's office had any sort of probable cause to make an arrest in a case like this, they would. They would have.
Jesus. Probable cause could have been established easily for the fact that Warren had Nolan's phone.
There you go.
Let's just start right there. Take everything else away. Your friend, you claim you left behind, but you have his phone, and you don't tell the mother you have his phone until she tells you that she's looking on Live 360 and her son's phone is on land. You just told his mother that you left him at the island. And as you're talking to her, you have his phone, and you have not yet told her that you have it. But you've asked her, have you heard from Nolan? How, number one, is she going to hear from him if you have his phone?
Wow. Preach it.
Number two, it wasn't until she told him, because she's running around trying to pull up Life 360 to find the location of her son's phone, and looks on the screen and it says he's on land. The phone is on land. And that is when he fessed up and says, well, we have his phone. Let's continue.
Not making sense.
Let's continue. Now that could be conceived as probable cause right there, as
Yeah.
being suspicious.
Yes. Holding evidence.
Or they may be gathering evidence to make sure they've got all the evidence that there is. I mean, I would wait until I had all the evidence, including a completed autopsy. You know what? I'm going to jump ahead. But regarding the body, regarding Nolan's body, we've heard all sorts of inflammatory things. But the one thing that, well, many things are very interesting and probative. For instance,
I'm sorry. Randy Boy says they need a cause of death to help strengthen the arrest. Absolutely. You are absolutely correct. And you know who has that information? The state of Mississippi.
They're holding
Because
it
they're holding that autopsy and toxicology report close to them,
because they know.
allegedly, because it appears, I'm not saying that it's true or not true, but based on the confidence of other people reporting on this case, they're leaking out information to the public that should be held by law enforcement. Even the parents don't know the results. The state of Mississippi knows what's on that autopsy report and that toxicology report. So you're absolutely right, Randy boy.
Instance, why was Nolan's neck of so much interest to the original medical examiner that it was removed? His foot wasn't removed. His toe wasn't removed. His ear wasn't removed. Why his neck? The lungs and the neck were removed, which obviously Edward Pulsick touches on COD, cause of death. I understand why the medical examiner took his lungs. He had to run tests on them to determine, did he drown? Of course, all three of us know you can drown and there still be foul play. Somebody whacked you on the head. If somebody held you underwater, it could be any number of things, or it could be an innocent drowning. But why the throat? What was curious about the throat, Ed? Were there marks on the throat? Was there a ligature mark? Was there manual strangulation? Was there a compression? Were there bruises? Were there scratches? I don't know. Was a hyoid missing? I could go on, but I won't. Do either of you know what was of interest to the medical examiner in the removal of Nolan's throat?
I'll tell you this. Listen, we're not coroners. We're not medical examiners. We want to know what happened to him just as much as everyone else. Quite frankly, more. Because Nolan was their best friend. Warren, Morgan, Jax. Nolan was their best friend. We want to know what happened. We haven't examined Nolan's body. We're not scientists.
I just thought maybe you had been somehow told why they took his throat. Okay, that's a note. We don't.
They sure acted cocky when they're in interviews talking about cause of death and autopsy results and things of that nature. They speak with their chest out when they're referring to certain things. If you look at the interview, the latest interview with the young men, and there was something that was said that they actually looked at each other and started chuckling. The arrogance. The arrogance shown in that interview. But they want to be perceived as victims. I want to know how you're the victim, but Nolan is deceased. They want everyone to believe, and maybe they are being harassed or threatened. But guess what? So is Nolan's mother.
No wonder this pisses you off.
Nolan's mother has been harassed. His father has been harassed. The whole family has been harassed by phone, online. They're writing bad reviews on her job site. Ironically, one of the fathers of one of those boys works at the same exact hospital that Nolan's mother works at.
You would think the mayor would come out and say something.
But they don't trust any of them. All the higher ups, because remember, the governor has come out saying no foul play. The DA has come out, no foul play. The sheriff came out not an hour after they found his body.
The governor?
We have no reason to believe any foul play. Yes, even the governor. This goes all the way to the top of the state.
You guys this is BS.
This case needs to be taken out of the state of Mississippi and turned into federal.
Everybody should be outraged.
I don't know why they took this threat.
Yeah, we don't want to speculate.
Let me start with an open-ended question to you, gentlemen. I started with, why haven't they taken a polygraph? I want to hear what your clients are saying happened that day, because my interest is piqued because you stated a young lady, and I assume this is Katie, the mysterious Katie, who turns out not to be that mysterious at all. Much was made of that.
Exactly.
Now, one thing about Katie, originally, one or some of your clients said he was with some girl, we don't know her. Then it turned out they had been texting with her. So they did know her. There may be an innocent explanation for that or not.
Now, how would you perceive that if someone said, "Oh yeah, my friend, he met a girl that day and decided to stay behind with her, some girl, and come to find out they know that girl."
Sounds like their story is being concocted. That's what it sounds like to me.
It definitely sounds like a lie, or maybe
Right.
it's
Like
not, but
let's and
it don't
their
match.
stories keep changing and they keep talking and they're getting themselves into trouble.
Lady Latesha, that's like me saying, well, let's just say let's use Danny Robertson as an example. Yeah, Lady Latesha and I, we were at the island, and she met some lady named Danny Robertson, and she decided to, hang behind with her. And so, I just left her there. And then later on, after you've disappeared, come to find out that I knew Danny. But I played it off as though I didn't know Danny from Adam.
Right.
You just met her, and I didn't know her. But that's the
Right.
same. That's the same thing that they're
You're trying
claiming.
to distance yourself from the situation,
They
from
try
the
to distance themselves
from
from
the
Katie.
whole thing.
Yeah, they're trying to distance. They tried because it didn't work. Come to find out, they were interacting with Katie through text messaging, so they knew Katie. Okay, but their initial story said that Nolan stayed behind because he just met a girl, and stayed behind on the island. He decided to stay behind, even though his phone was in Warren's possession, or whoever's possession ended up being in Warren's possession. Okay, but they said that he stayed behind on the island. Mind you, this island ain't got no electricity, no shelter, no nothing.
Nothing.
How is he going to spend the night with no communication at all to the outside?
First of all, I'll be trying to figure out why you left me, even if I wanted to stay. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Even
and that's just
even if
it.
I would have said, Auntie Mickey, I want to stay, you would have told me to
I
get
would have
home.
said, the hell you are.
Exactly.
The hell you are. You don't know this woman that you claim that you just met, but that's part of what came up to be a different story later on down the line. And in
Mhm.
fact, Katie is somebody that Nolan's family knows and is cool with, and has been on family outings and everything.
Right. So why would he stay behind for her, knowing that he needed to get on this boat to get home?
Well, not only that, I mean, it's like they tried to make it as though he never met her before, and they didn't
Right.
know who she was before. Come to find out that this was someone that they were all familiar with.
Right.
So again, the story changes again.
They're
So
lying.
these changes in the story just keep building up and building up. And then, like Randy Boy says, and the people who allegedly saw him at 6, who else did they see him with?
Right. Good
And
question.
and why so late in the game did 2 people suddenly appear after another story was debunked?
Right.
Just, the story
no
keeps
one saw
shifting
him.
and morphing to
Not all of a
their
sudden.
narrative. Yeah.
So explain to me, who are they talking about when they said he was with a girl, we don't know her? He had never met her before, but yet they were texting with Katie, the girl he had been with. I'll throw that to you, Tyler. Do you know the answer to that?
Sure. So they didn't know Katie, and they believe that Nolan didn't know Katie before that day. But you have to remember, once they started getting suspicious that Nolan wasn't with them anymore, they start asking themselves, okay, well, where's Nolan? They start texting everyone that they knew. Hey, have you seen Nolan? Do you know where Nolan is? Did he make it back home? All before they called Christine Wells that night, they start asking everybody. And so eventually they end up getting
that is not
mutual
what
friends, whoever.
that man said.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, love?
He said he went to a party, and after that, he fell asleep the next morning. Then, something about 11 o'clock at night.
Well,
But
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that, because this man just said once they discovered that he was missing, okay, they left the island, according to the boys, they left the island at 4:31. He did not call Nolan's mother until 11:07 that night. Count how many hours that is between
that's a
leaving.
lot of hours.
That's what, 8 hours damn near?
Yeah, it's the whole day. And he didn't say he was calling, looking around, wondering what Nolan was. He was partying. He went to a party, a swim party.
As a matter of fact, the house that he went to, he went upstairs to talk to the father instead of hung out with the rest of the kids downstairs, which is odd.
Yeah, it wasn't no calling around trying to find out where he was. This attorney is making up a story.
Well,
that is not true. That is not
what he's been told by his clients. He's going by exactly what he's been told by his clients, but here's the part that just doesn't sound right. Warren goes upstairs to talk to the parent or the father of one of the boys. I don't know which boy. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know which boy, but they go over to this house for a party, and he goes upstairs immediately to talk to this father. And then it's when they come downstairs that they start asking, anybody seen Nolan? Anybody seen Nolan?
Why?
Anybody seen Nolan? So
why would anybody be asking that question knowing that they left him behind?
And knowing that you have his phone.
Ooh, the story.
Yeah.
Ever Katie's number. And so I believe it was maybe either Snapchat or text message. They got in communication with Katie. And Katie says, I don't know. We thought he was leaving with y'all. Well, I don't believe that's the case, obviously, because he did not leave with our boys. We don't know what happened to him, but that's Katie's statement. That's how they got a hold of Katie's numbers, because they're frantically trying to find out what happened to Nolan.
What's your take on it, Ed? Because I think he's saying they did know Katie. I couldn't tell if he said did or didn't.
He said
did he say they all did know Katie?
No, they did not.
They didn't know Katie. All right. And they determined who she was. Okay. Right. Hey, hold on. Tyler, you stated your clients began to get suspicious. Where is Nolan? When did they get suspicious?
It was later that night. I believe it was around 9 or 10 o'clock, maybe even 11, that they start saying, oh, well, has anyone seen Nolan? Where's Nolan? Did he make it back home? Does anybody know? They start calling around, texting, asking everybody. And once they determined that no one had the answer about where Nolan was, that's when they called Christine Wells.
So when did they go to the party? He didn't say anything about the party.
Totally skipped over that. That was an important part, because that's a long period of time.
Missing at 9
for Nolan. Everybody at the party, but Nolan.
You see how that got left out? This is just weird.
The story just doesn't make sense, Auntie Mickey. And he's trying to make it. And he's losing me.
Yeah.
If I was on the juror side, I'd be like, no, this is, you just said you said that he did not know Katie. Then how did they get her phone number, and how was they texting her back and forth?
Hold on, just hot flash and just said, hello, Auntie, blast. Aisha in chat, did you hear the latest? No, what is the latest, sweetheart? I don't know if I've heard the latest or not. If you can tell me, let me know. But in the meantime, we gonna go through this video because this guy seems like he's grabbing at straws to me. Some of his story is just not storying. Right. The C call was at 4 and they left at 4:31. Yes, I covered that.
Yeah,
So they called C toll before they left the island, according to the GPS and the phone logs and all that stuff.
which says they were on land.
Yeah, and then there's also a warrant has been issued for for Nolan's phone. Now that I did hear just before I started this live. Okay, here we go.
And then they stay on the phone. My client stayed on the phone with Christine Wells for about 5 or 6 minutes. And then he tells her, look, I'm going to call the Coast Guard just to make sure. And he did. He stays on the phone with the Coast Guard for 21 minutes.
Okay. Ed Pulsick, also veteran trial lawyer. Ed, do you concur with that explanation of why they first said, I don't know her, we don't know her, he didn't know her, and then we find out that they had actually been texting with Katie? What's your understanding of that? Again, I had my favorite trial judge, Luther Alverson, would tell every jury, it is your duty to make all witnesses speak the truth. What does that mean? To reconcile the different seemingly conflicting stories to make everyone be telling the truth and impugn perjury on no one. So maybe there's an explanation for this. Why do they say we don't know her and then they're texting her? So they did know her.
That characterization, they didn't say that. There's no contradiction. I can just tell you this. They didn't know her. Nolan was with her much of the day. And he was still on the island when they left. He apparently spent much of the day with this young lady.
Did you by chance
see how
see any
nonchalant he
pictures
was?
of them together? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, sweetheart.
He's just so nonchalant. I don't know. They just was on the island together and spending the whole day together. No, I didn't see, when we saw a picture of Nolan, he was by himself.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing that kills me, that they haven't proven anything with any evidence that Nolan was with this girl all day long.
Right. And she said that he was leaving to go home
with his friends. Exactly. So it's nerve-wracking because I feel like they're playing in our face, that it feels so deceptive.
It really does. It smells
and the cockiness of this dude on the bottom is getting on my last freaking nerve, because you're sitting here telling us a whole bunch of crap that you have no physical evidence to vouch for what you're saying.
Right.
Seems to be what happened. But no, there was this young lady was not part of their friend group. That's right.
Okay, so when they say they didn't know her, but yet they were texting her, they did know her name.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that characterization. Yeah, the
well,
premise,
enlighten me. I want to know.
Is flawed. Yeah, the premise is flawed. She's not part of their friend group. They don't know her.
She don't have to be.
I can tell you that it does appear, once again, it appears that Nolan was with this young lady from.
When you went to high school, Lady Latesha, chances are you hung around a couple of people on the regular. But that doesn't mean that everybody else was in your friend group in the school. but you
Right.
still knew who they were.
Right.
So just because she wasn't part of the clique doesn't mean that they didn't know who she was.
They did know who she was. They were
Exactly.
texting her.
They
So
knew her enough to be
story-
texting her.
that's why the boys sitting there talking and telling off on themselves. Their story is conflicting.
Randy says, was the GPS coordinates near where his body was found? As a matter of fact, the coordinates were very close to, it was on north, what is it, the north tip of Horn Island, which is pretty much where the coordinates were. And one of the biggest things about this case is they were saying, what is the odds that something happened on the tip of Horn Island in the form of a drowning, and he washed out to sea and then washes back up to the very place he was at when he was last seen.
Right.
Okay.
What is the odds of that happening?
It's little to none. Randy Boy says, how did they get her number is the question. That's a good question.
That's the perfect question.
Perfect question.
Is that they were texting her. So how long have you had her number?
Well, here's the other thing. If they have Nolan's phone and her number is in Nolan's phone under her name, did they know her name enough to know where to go into his contacts?
That would have been a way to do it.
But to say that they didn't know who she was or anything is just, I don't believe that.
I think they knew her.
I find it hard to believe. If you're texting her back and forth, how did you know to text her specifically? What information did you have if you didn't know this girl? See, that's what I'm having a problem with too. You don't know this girl or even know of her, who she is. They identified her as somebody he just met. Well, then how did you get her number?
Right. How did they start communicating with her and know her name and everything?
Starly Jones says that's Bart's ex-girlfriend. Now, I don't know if that's true or not specifically, Starly, but that's the word on the curb.
Yep, word on the curb.
That's word on the curb.
Because I heard it too.
Yeah.
Much of the day. That does seem to be confirmed by many witnesses. And I could tell you this, Nancy, one thing about this island, I did have the opportunity to go to Horn Island. And when you go to the island, everything starts to make sense.
No, it doesn't.
The first picture was maybe not so accurate. If you go to the part of Horn Island where, these events all occurred, you see that there are really no trees on that part of the island. It's flat, it's open. There are no visual obstructions, so there's no trees, there's no shelter, there's no nothing, and it was broad daylight with thousands of people there.
So why didn't anybody?
Meaning there was no opportunity for foul play during daylight hours. And that's where this whole thing starts to unravel.
And now that's where your story starts to unravel, because you guys are saying that they left him behind on that desolate island with, first it was 200 people, then it was 300 people, now it's up to 2,000 people. Make up your mind how many people were on the doggone island.
Out a phone.
But you want us to believe that they left him behind because he requested to be left behind, and the girl got on the whatever boat she got on and he stayed behind
with no phone.
All that desolation and all those people that were still left behind, and nobody saw nothing happen to him.
Right. And how was he going to get home with no phone? What was he supposed to do on this island?
Well, they're trying to say that he said he was going to catch a ride back with someone else, but nobody knows who this someone else is.
All day long, but where's my phone? My
He's
phone
gonna
goes with me just in case
exactly.
something happens and I gotta call my mama.
Bradley says just because he went there doesn't take into account the 4th of July, packed boats near shore, people drinking, etc. Absolutely. There's
Yes.
a whole lot of stuff that isn't being taken into account, Bradley. Thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate your input. Hello, No Ego. Starly Jones says one of the boys said it in the interview that they became friends with Nolan, even though he's with their buddy's ex. Okay, thank you. So if not Bart, then they could get in touch with Katie. Boom. Okay.
Ed,
You have to go to the island.
please.
You have to go to
There's
the island.
opportunity for foul play.
He ain't got
He
time
could
for
have
no
been
field trips,
walked
dude.
Not
on
in
the
this
head on a
environment.
boat and
Not in-
pushed over. There's
I'm telling you, not in this
it doesn't have to
environment.
be
I
on the
was there.
beach. It could
I'm
be
telling you.
anywhere.
He's
You got to
bored.
understand, it's a 10-mile long barrier island, but it's only a few hundred yards wide in
Who
most
gives a
places.
damn?
There's nowhere to hide.
Let me see the video and show it to Ed and Tyler. The video of all those boats. Anything could have happened between those boats.
Exactly.
Anything.
Well, but
Even
but
an
Nancy,
accident could happen between
but-
those boats. And so many
Nancy-
people are drunk. I don't think they're paying attention.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? We could always say anything is possible. An asteroid could strike right now. But I am telling you that there are a lot of people who have talked about this case and have.
Okay. Cafe Ole says, well, if he was able, he could have called for help using someone else's phone. Absolutely. There's so many different things that, coulda, woulda, shoulda. But they're trying to make us believe that he was on that island after they left. And I find that very difficult to believe, considering the fact that they were not the last ones to leave. There were other people on that island, and nobody saw him on that island after those young men left. And if there was some kind of a distress, just like you said, if there had been some kind of distress on that island, even if he didn't have his own phone, others had phones, and he could have called for help. If he were able, correct. Golden says Fort Bayou has a lot of trees, so why did they go to Fort Bayou after the staged sinking? I don't know the answer to that question, sweetheart. I really don't. Bradley Spalding. He comes up with the common sense question, and I agree. Common sense. Who stays on an island with just their swim trunks? Common sense trumps propaganda. Which is another thing I wanted to mention, and I don't have the picture out. I don't have it available. But if you take a look at the picture of Nolan when he was bent over on the back of that boat, there's a backpack on that boat, kind of a lime green backpack. And I wonder whose backpack that was. Just curious. Because I would think that he would have brought something with him as anyone else would going to the island. You don't just go there and you have nothing like a change of clothes or something, somewhere to put your iPhone or something. Who knows? I don't know. TT Aquarius says the lawyer is basically saying that it happened on the boat and not the island. That's exactly what it's sounding like. The opposite of what the boys are saying. Exactly, adventurous you. He had a phone, necklace, shades, and shoes. I wonder who got that backpack, or who that backpack belonged to, and who was that older dude on that boat that he was standing on. I don't even know if that was one of the boys' boats. I don't know, but he had to have known that man to get up on that boat, because from what I understand, you don't just get on random boats and start digging through whatever they have on the back of their boat, be it a ice chest or whatever. you've got to have some kind of permission from the owner of the boat or the owner of the ice chest or whatever. You got to know somebody on that boat. Yes, Cafe Olay says the island is federal land. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Bradley says, yes, he slipped up and said that. He always refers to them not unaliving them, which leans toward an accident. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, dear. Thank you so much. I'm trying. I'm trying to make sense of this, but it gives me a headache. I ain't gonna lie. It really does. Especially when I see the arrogance in these people, these certain people.
Have said things that are not true, and they haven't been to the island. They've got to go to the island. If you don't go to the island, you can't speak with authority about the case. And I won't name names, but a lot of people who have hurt these fine young men and have defamed them, they've never visited the island. And I'm willing to bet that they've never visited the islands. Look at it right there.
What difference
That shot
does
you
it
have right there.
make? Whether you name names or not, you're basically corroborating the same story that everyone else is saying in dispute of what the young men are saying. It sounds like it happened on the boat because you keep pointing out, look how sparse it is and you can't get away with nothing on that island. That's our whole point. That's the whole point. Starley Jones says, I want to know why the second medical examiner can't come down to Mississippi and finish his exam since they are holding body parts. That's a good question. As a matter of fact, I'll take you one step better. How come the medical examiner, the first medical examiner, knowing that they have these other body parts that they're going to retain, how come they didn't enclose notes pertaining to those specific body parts, explaining why they held on to them? Because when you have dual investigations like that, autopsies and whatnot, they work as a team. That's exactly how it's supposed to work. Not, well, I'm going to take my ball and go home. I'm not telling y'all nothing. But exactly, Dorian, going to that island don't prove shit. The arrogance, absolutely. Going to that island don't prove a doggone thing other than what we already know. It's a big old island and ain't no protection. Ain't nothing out there. But they did say that the reception, the telephone reception was bad. That was a lie too. Let me go ahead and proceed.
Broad daylight with thousands of people there. The picture speaks for itself.
I agree with what you're saying. I agree that it would be nearly impossible for foul play to take place on that beach. Again, I direct your attention to the gathering of boats with the boats closely together. Everybody's drinking. Nobody's paying attention. Like, I can't tell what's going on between the boats at a distance. I don't know. I don't know what's happening in the water. I don't know. That
I can tell you
said,
this.
I agree. I don't think anything happened out in the plain view on the beach, but there are other alternatives.
I want to add, though, we have a difference of opinion. When I see that video of the boats in the water there, that also is not a good place to get away with murder. Now, we have been very careful. We have refrained from speculation. We have refrained from guessing, and we're going to continue to do that. However, plain view of that scene, the beach, the boats, the water, that is not a secretive environment. It just isn't.
I agree the beach is not secretive, and I also agree the whole island is not secretive because there's really nowhere to hide there anyway. Guys, let me move to the boat, the Triton. Has the boat been searched by authorities?
Before they get started in this, let me make one statement before I forget. Okay. It was said, well, I'll wait. I'll go ahead and do this.
I do not believe that it has been searched by authorities, but it's been available to authorities this entire time. If authorities wanted to come see it, they're more than able to, and have been.
Okay, I find that very interesting, Tyler, and I'll tell you why. In so many cases that I've prosecuted and covered and investigated, you see defendants, targets, trying to get rid of evidence. You see them cleaning the boat. You see them washing it down. You see them trying all sorts of methods to get rid of evidence. It's interesting to me and somewhat probative that your clients have offered the boat up to law enforcement to come and search it. I'm curious, has the boat not just been searched with the naked eye? Has luminol been used on the boat? Has alternative light sources been used on the boat? Has a cadaver dog come to the boat? Has a scent dog come to the boat? To your knowledge, either one of you.
To my knowledge, Nancy, I do not believe that has happened. But again, my 3 clients, either one of them, none of them own that boat. So if it has, you would have to ask the owners.
Now, I'm pretty sure you guys already know that 2 of those boats were brought by Wyatt.
Right.
Wyatt was on the phone with Grandpa. Those were Grandpa's boats. You can easily go to Grandpa if you wanted to search.
But Grandpa wasn't on the boat, sir.
We don't know that. Somebody had to drive that boat.
They were driving it. Those young men were driving the boat.
Not necessarily. I mean, if Wyatt could have been driving one boat, because I know Bart had a boat.
You think the Pawpaw was with them?
I seen a man on one of them boats. There was 4. Yep, Adventurous You.
Now this wouldn't be the same one that called into the Coast Guard.
Yes, Jerry Atkins.
Okay.
4 boats were out there. 2 of them were Wyatt's, according to Warren's interview. Bart had a boat too. And there's a 4th boat. So Wyatt has 2 boats. Wyatt can't drive both boats. Bart drove his own boat. Warren could have possibly drove a boat. Who knows? But I don't know. Don't get me to lie. This is pissing me off now. I ain't gonna lie. This is pissing me off because they're playing game. I feel like they're playing games in our face. Ivor Stank said, Ivor Stank, bless your heart. You got to get that taken care of, baby. Was Nolan bloody? Not to my knowledge. Haven't heard anything about blood. I haven't heard anything about them testing for blood on anything. And again, it's time. There's such precious time that has passed where information that could have been gotten is gone. I mean, anybody that's watched the first 48 knows that the first 48 hours after an incident, we'll call it an incident, is the most critical time in getting information or evidence.
Right.
And because so much time passed
happened to Nolan, because he didn't just wash ashore
2 days after
that is not what happened.
2 days after the fact. July 6th is when his body reappeared. I'll put it like that. Reappeared. So, Bradley says, I presume Warren's stepmom, the judge, had them lawyer up to protect their negligence since they were underage drinking and could be liable since Nolan went there with them. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because not to say that they specifically did something to him to cause him to be unalived, but in covering up one crime, which underage drinking is a crime, especially if there are adults present, in the process of covering that up, you've created another problem. But here's the thing I wanted to point out, and I'm just going to keep saying this because it slipped my mind a few minutes ago, but something tells me that all answers will be answered, or all questions will be answered on that phone. That phone holds the key. That phone holds the key to everything.
Yeah. And they just subpoenaed it. Who subpoenaed it?
The law enforcement, the police. Today, apparently, according to the letter, I guess today was the cutoff date. And ironically, the parents are not even in town right now. They are not physically there to turn it over to them. And
Mm,
because the parents don't trust, I don't blame them one bit. I wouldn't trust them either. I'm not going to turn something over to someone who I don't trust. And
right.
basically
I don't
what they
trust
want to
any
do
of you guys.
is examine
I
it
don't
to
trust, not one of you are trustworthy. So why would I give you something that is no? I wouldn't give it over. I wouldn't, Auntie Mickey. I would give it to someone that, like the lawyer here, I'm giving it to you. You give it to someone to investigate. Then when we're done investigating it, then they can have it because you can pull back old pictures, deleted information.
There's all
Nothing
kind of
is deleted.
information that, yeah. Hold on just a second.
Tyler, do I look like I just fell off the turnip truck? Maybe I do, because we did sell turnips at the farmer's market
Step away for a second, y'all.
when I was growing up. That said, you telling me my clients don't own the boat, so you'd have to ask the owner. Come on. You and Paulsick know if the boat has been searched. You know if cadaver dogs or scent dogs, luminol or alternative light has been used on the boat. Can you just tell me? Yes, no. It's not your client's fault. It's law enforcement's fault if they haven't done it.
If authorities thought that there was something to find on that boat, don't you think this far out they would have already done it?
I would think in the ordinary course of an investigation into potential foul play, I would have gone out there and done it. Just
That's if you believe there was potential foul play.
Just to say, I searched it and it was clean. I didn't find any
Nancy,
blood.
Well, Nancy,
Cadaver
you're
dog
asking a
didn't
valid.
hit.
Hold on, you're asking a valid question. You're just asking the wrong people. That's a question for law enforcement.
To your knowledge, has it been searched? Have you been told by anyone that it was searched?
I don't have
I have
any
not been told
involvement
that,
with the
no.
law enforcement. I don't have any involvement in the investigation.
I'm
We're
going to take
conducting
that
our
as
own
a no.
investigation. You can take it how you want. We're conducting our own investigation.
Attention homeowners, Nancy Grace here. Scammers are using AI to steal from you.
I'm sorry, you guys. I had to step away for just a second. Let me get through this
That's okay.
advertisement. Oh, I couldn't hold it no more.
That is okay. The Liathon, the defense attorneys,
Oh, you're muted, honey.
I said once upon a time, I wanted to be a lawyer. I was going to do it. I had made up my mind and I was going to do it. And then I realized that they said I have to be a defense attorney first. And you may have to defend, scumbags. And I said, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I said, well, and that wasn't the only reason why I didn't go, but that was one of the reasons.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a prosecutor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. And they don't make that much depending if it's criminal.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry.
Let me see if I hope I got through this commercial. Hold on.
Good luck.
Oh.
Joining us tonight, Tyler Cox, the lawyer for several of the young men. Also with us, Edward Paulsick, attorney for the boys as well. Tell me what you can about the C-tow call. I've had renowned experts say, this wasn't doctored. I've had renowned experts say, this was totally doctored. Have you heard the original CETO call from Mississippi Department Marine Resources. Have either of you listened to that call? Because I've heard it so many times, I'm now jaded based on what people think they're hearing, based on enhancements. I even had my own producer, who does not have a dog in this fight, no skin in the game, enhance it. But I want to hear what you guys know about the CETO call. My mind is open.
Look, anybody can adjust the gain. Anybody can enhance it or sweeten it. But it doesn't change the fact that just because you put words over some audio means that those words are now attributable to what is on the call. Look, another boy called CETO. We have video that was released of Brandon Tatum. He posted it, and it shows who all was on the boat. At no point in time does this CETO call ever, not once, where you find any sort of mention of Nolan being on the boat, of something happening to Nolan. I cannot state clearly enough, Nolan was not on the boat when it departed around 4:30.
And I'm glad he said that. I'm glad he said that, because if you see the name on this video, whose name is that? Officer Tatum. That's who submitted this particular video.
Yeah.
Okay? Just keep that in mind, because there's some things that have been pointed out that would be very interesting. But I'm going to just play the rest of this video, because their word doesn't mean a doggone thing. Show some evidence that this is a legit video, because again, no timestamps have been provided.
They're trying to say that this is the actual video of them coming back.
Yeah, this is the video. This is the proof
BS.
that Nolan wasn't. This video is the proof that Nolan wasn't on the boat coming back from Horn Island.
This does not prove anything. This could
This
happen
is just a
before or
video
after.
of them on the boat.
And
That's it. It's
this
just a
video has no timestamp, no dates, nothing.
Nothing. Let me see if I can. Well, I don't want to keep dragging this on, but
look, the video that you're showing now, does anyone look like? And look, there's the boy that's on the CETO call right there. Does anyone look like there's a body on the boat or something had just happened? Look, Nancy, you were a prosecutor for a long time. None of these boys have a story that is untrue. Don't you think that after all this time, somebody would have snitched? That somebody wouldn't be able to keep their story straight? No. Look, these boys are telling the truth.
Typically, you're absolutely right. That's why I usually don't believe in conspiracies, because nobody can keep their yap shut. Somebody blabs.
And Nancy, now I'll say something about the CETO call. I have heard a lot of versions of the CETO call, and most of them are either completely fake or AI or doctored. And unfortunately, for folks that are doing that, that may become the subject of one or more lawsuits. It appears that there are hundreds of versions of the CETO call all over the internet, everywhere online. So now nobody can keep track of it. But I can tell you that. I can tell you, look at those photos. Nolan Wells is not on that boat.
The photos to me are very convincing. Let's see the photo they're talking about again.
Yes, I'm glad we agree about that. I'm glad we agree.
Do I know what time that was or what day that was? Is there a timestamp? Look, I'm not saying either of you are lying. I'm saying this is how I would test evidence in court. I mean, I take everything with a box of salt. When was that taken? Where was it taken? What time was it taken? Yeah. I'm curious. Is it timestamp?
Hey, Nancy, you've been trying this case for over 30 days. The facts are the facts.
Does that answer her question?
No, it did not. And why isn't more people speaking out? I'm like Oprah Winfrey, the people that has a bigger platform, you know?
I just thought that his response to her last statement was so weird. Who cares if it's been 30 days? What the hell does that have anything to do with what she just asked you? Let me play that again. Let me see if I can play it again.
Nancy,
Well,
you've
and
been
Nancy,
trying this case for over 30 days.
We've been trying this case for over
Damn.
30 days.
Look,
Yeah, it was
I'm
around
not
4:30.
saying either of you are lying. I'm saying this is how I would test evidence in court. I mean, I take everything with a box of salt. When was that taken? Where was it taken? What time was it taken? I'm
yeah.
curious. Is it time
Hey,
stamped?
Nancy,
well,
you've
and
been
Nancy,
trying this case for over 30 days. The facts are the facts are the facts.
And you ain't proved a fact yet. Adventurous You says, Auntie Mickey, go back and look at a dark color figure move around quickly at the bottom of that boat. Okay, hold on just a second. Let me try to go back. Okay, I'm going to go back to about right here. Okay.
can keep track of it. But I can tell you that. I can tell you, look at those photos. Nolan Wells is not on that
the
boat.
photos to me are very convincing. Let's see the photo they're talking about again.
Yes, I'm glad we agree about that. I'm glad we
do
agree.
I know what time that was or what day that was? Is there a timestamp? Look,
Yeah, it was
I'm
around
not
4:30.
saying either
that's
of
the
you are
shadow of Brad.
lying. I'm saying this is how I would test evidence.
That's the shadow, Adventurous You. That's the shadow of Bart's boat. Because remember, there's somebody on another boat next to it that's recording them. So there is another boat right next to that boat with those guys on there.
You saw Warren. I saw Warren, didn't you?
Yeah, but the people
I
on the
thought
boat.
Warren wasn't on that boat.
Well, that wasn't quite the case that we were trying to point. What we're trying to okay, so Adventurous You said, Auntie Mickey, go back and look at a dark color
I didn't
figure
see
move
anything.
around quickly at the bottom of that boat. Okay. Now the I don't know if you are speaking about the shadow of the boat right next to them, or is it inside the boat that you're referring to? Hold on, let me play it again. Hold on.
Hundreds of versions of the CETO call
Right,
all
okay.
over the internet, everywhere
I'm
online.
going to try to stop it.
So now nobody can keep track of it. But I can tell you that. I can tell you, look at those photos. Nolan Wells is not on that boat.
The photos to me are very convincing.
Is it right there, or do I need to play it some more? Tell me if I need to go further. I'll wait. Yes, it goes quick. Have I hit it yet, or do I keep going? Beside the person standing up on the floor. Okay, because there's the guy holding on to the top, looking between the two guys. Let me see. Can I make this bigger? Let me see if I can blow this up some. That's the most it'll go. Doggone it.
Auntie Mickey, at the bottom where that little blue is, go down there and look for that little, there should be 2 arrows that point out. That'll make this screen bigger.
Right, I did that. And it won't jump any further than where it is now.
Oh,
Go then stop. Okay, hold on. Hold on.
Let's see the photo they're talking about again.
Yeah.
Okay. Did I pass it?
See that button right there by the arrow?
I'm
Push
talking about
that
in
button.
the foot that they're talking about. Because the screen ain't going to get no bigger. Yes, him. Okay. Start it over and go slow. Okay, I'll try my best.
Because what it'll do is get rid of Nancy on this side, on the right.
Nolan Wells is not on that
The
boat.
photos to me are very
Okay, I'm going to stop right there. And I'll go a little bit more.
convincing. Let's.
Am I there yet? Okay, just look at it. You will see when you get time. Okay. But it's inside the boat, correct? Because I see feet right here. And then I see him standing. But I don't see, I just passed it. Ugh. Okay, did I pass it with my arrow or did I pass the video completely? Let me go back again. Okay. Let me try this one
Completely
more
fake
time.
or AI or doctored. And unfortunately, for folks that are doing that, that may become the subject of one or more lawsuits. It appears that there are hundreds of versions of the CETO call all over the internet, everywhere online. So now nobody can keep track of it. But I can tell you that. I can tell you, look at those photos. Nolan Wells is not on that
The
boat.
photos to me are very.
Okay, I stopped it as soon as the video started. By the guy's legs standing up. Is my arrow near it? I'm not sure what I'm looking for, love. By the guy's legs standing up. This is the guy standing up. Okay. And I'm looking for... What am I? I'm not quite sure what I'm looking for. It will be around there. Start it and stop it again. Okay.
Convinced.
I'll see a foot. Where do I see a foot? You talking about right here? Is my arrow on it? Right there? Oh, snap. Right where this bar is. Wow. Wow. Let me back it up just one more time because I want to see it appear and then disappear. Because it's been said that these photos have been doctored. I just want to see for my own self. Let me make sure I'm... Where is it now? Okay. Come on. Okay, I'm just going to start right here. So I'll be
Because you
all...
put words over some audio
Okay.
means that those words are now attributable to what is on the call. Look, another boy called Cito. We have video that was released of Brandon Tatum. He posted it, and it shows who all was on the boat. At no point in time does this Cito call ever, not once, where you find any sort of mention of Nolan being on the boat, of something happening to Nolan. I cannot state clearly.
Oh, I seen it disappear. Holy shit. Holy shit. I seen it disappear. I'll be damned. I'll be damned. I'll be damned. I'll be damned. Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna look at it some more. I'll be here all night trying to we gotta get through this video. Cause I'm supposed to be playing something else, but shit. I mean, I seen it and then boom, it went away. Doctored. Holy shit.
Enough, Nolan was not on the boat when it departed around 4:30.
Oh, I seen it again. Oh shit.
I saw it that time.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw
Look,
it. It was a foot.
the video that you're showing now, does anyone look like, and look,
Yeah, what is that?
Look at that.
look, there's the boy
Then it backs up.
that's on.
And then it disappears. 2 frames. 2 frames. That's crazy.
It is. But
Oh my God. Right. Not accusing nobody of nothing because anything could happen. Accidents happen.
I believe it was an accident, whatever happened. For the most part.
Have
But something
mercy.
happened.
Okay, you know what? I'm not even going to go any further with this video. Hold on. I'm going to play a little bit more. But
On
here's something I
the
want y'all.
CETO call right there. Does anyone look like there's a
Yeah, I just seen it again. There we go. Just keep on playing for us.
body on the boat or something had just happened?
At that angle,
Look,
no.
Nancy,
But we seen a hand or a foot.
you were a prosecutor
No.
for a long time.
Something is right here. Something is right there.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy. Okay. Thank you, you guys, because I would have never seen that if y'all hadn't pointed it out. Holy cow.
None of these boys have a story that is untrue. Don't you think that after all this time, somebody would have snitched? That somebody wouldn't be able to keep their story straight? No. Look, these boys are
Typically,
telling
yes.
the truth.
Typically,
story straight
you're
already.
absolutely right. That's why I usually don't believe in conspiracies because nobody can keep their yap shut. Somebody
They-
blabs.
And Nancy, now I'll say something about the CETO call. I have heard a lot of versions of the CETO call. And most of them are either completely fake or AI or doctored. And unfortunately, for folks that are doing that, that may become the subject of one or more lawsuits. It appears that there are hundreds of versions of the CETO call all over the internet, everywhere online.
Really?
So now nobody can keep track of it.
Hundreds.
But I can tell you that. I can tell you, look at those photos.
Just like there were thousands.
Nolan
of
Wells is not on that
The
boat.
photos to me are very convincing. Let's see the photo they're talking about again.
Yes, I'm glad we agree about that. I'm glad we
do
agree.
I know what time that was or what day that was? Is there a timestamp? Look,
Yeah, it was
I'm
around
not
4:30.
saying either of you are lying. I'm saying this is how I would test evidence in court. I mean, I take everything with a box of salt. When was that taken? Where was it taken? What time was it taken? I'm
Yeah.
curious. Is it timestamp?
Hey, exactly.
And Nancy,
Well,
you've been
Nancy,
trying this case for over 30 days.
And that has nothing to do with anything.
The facts are the facts are the facts.
Yeah, we know.
These boys had nothing to do with the death of Nolan Wells.
That doesn't mean it's a fact just because you said it. Now they're pissing me off because now they're insulting our intelligence.
They're making up their own conclusion.
Lord Jesus, I can't with these two. Let me see if there's any more left of this shit. Lord have mercy. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and let this play out.
To that.
Okay,
Listen,
when was
we
the
don't,
timestamp on that video?
Nancy, I'm going to answer it this way.
Yes.
We don't think
Okay.
that you're accusing us of lying. We don't feel that way. We're
Yeah.
just simply saying this. And it's okay. You're asking legitimate investigative questions. And we don't fault you for that. But here's what we're saying.
Yeah.
It's been over 30 days. There has never been one shred, one iota, one piece, nothing. There is no evidence that ties Warren, Morgan, or Jax to any crime.
There's no evidence that you
Because
provided
you
that say
allow
that
them.
they were. Or
Exactly.
weren't.
You haven't done the polygraph test. You haven't checked the boat with the dogs and, like she said, the luminol and everything that goes along with it. You haven't done the things, the checkpoints that Nancy is talking about.
Bradley said, I caught Warren in Tatum's interview talking about threats, yet he wasn't threatened. LOL. I catch all the conflicting things, a lot of hand signals in their interviews. Exactly, including this Carl Cox baseball cap wearing jackass tipping his hat like he's in a baseball field.
You know
Like we
what?
can't see that shit.
Okay.
Are you kidding me?
I'm going to reach out to this body language guy and see if he can do a body language on the guys in that interview.
Protect their names.
Jesus. You guys remember, these guys are paid to defend these guys. Okay? So they're just doing their job. I understand that. But dude, you got to come better than that. You got to come better than that. And the bottom line is that they're defending their clients to make sure that we understand that they were not involved criminally. And I'm not saying that they did anything to him specifically. However, that's not to say that a crime did not occur with the one individual that had the telephone. Shit.
The telephone. It all begins and ends with that phone. Ooh.
Jesus.
What you doing with his phone?
My God.
Period. Especially if you're leaving him on an island by himself. Why would you leave him without a phone?
Why would you delete your social media? Why would they delete their own social media? And the parents. We ain't even talking about the phone right now. We talking about their social media.
Because the videos of the Laker dude was showing them all over the place. And all that should be submitted into evidence.
And the only reason we know anything about Bart is because of that Cito audio call where they said, damn it, Bart. Otherwise, we'd have never known about Bart. Point blank, period.
Wow.
Absolutely. And let's be real about it. If these was 3 black dudes and a white boy, they'd have been locked up that night for a minimum 72 hours. Minimum. Interrogation, not questioning, interrogation. They would have separated them boys room to room to room. Come on, man. That's my Boosie. Man.
On the air here. We're not going to air out
I think
a
you
private
should.
list of witnesses. We are. We're going to protect them. So I want to emphasize that as well. The witnesses that we're talking about, we're not going to do that to them. We're not going to name them here on the air. We're not doing that.
I'm not
So-
asking you to.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you are.
I'm asking you
But we're
again when the timestamp is on that video. But if you don't know, I'm not saying that that's wrong or right.
Well, I'm not.
I'm saying
Right, no,
I want to know to
I understand that, but
corroborate
that's
that
not-
video.
I understand that, but that's not a relevant question for your present guest since we didn't make the video. But I can tell you this.
Okay. Well, you showed me the video, and that's why I'm asking. Okay, let me ask
Well,
you
we didn't-
something else.
Yeah, we didn't show you. We
state
didn't show
that
you
your
Yeah,
clients
go ahead.
know of witnesses, or you know of witnesses that placed
Yes.
Nolan at Horn Island alive at 6 p.m.
Yes. Yes. 100%.
All of this aside, all of the has the boat been searched? Where is Nolan's phone? Where are your clients' phone? All that is superseded by the fact that there may be witnesses placing him alive on the island at 6 p.m. And everything else disappears for me if that is true, because I know your clients were gone at 4:30-ish.
Yes.
Have these witnesses been questioned by law enforcement? Do you know?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
You're sure?
Yes. Yes. And I'll tell you another thing. One other thing. There's a corollary. Nancy, there's a corollary. So there are witnesses who can place Nolan Wells on the island at 6 p.m. There are also witnesses who can confirm that Warren, Morgan, and Jax left the island
Well, we know
around
they left
4:30. So
We know
both
that.
sides are covered. We've got it covered.
Well, for me, it's not that simple, because I still don't know what happened to Nolan Wells. However,
Neither do we.
I believe that the GPS, which really cannot be controverted, shows when the Triton left, witness or no witness. I've got that. Now, who's on the boat? I believe that video is going to tell me who's on the boat. But all that, the overarching issue is, was he alive at 6 p.m.? This is where I'm going.
Right. And Nancy,
I don't
can I say
care
Letter talk.
Nancy, one
who
thing.
was with him last. I don't
And-
care if it exonerates or convicts
course.
anybody. I just want to know the truth.
And it's good to ask,
Sir?
and I want to say this, it's good to ask tough questions. These are all valid questions, but what we're trying to do for you is simplify it. 4:30 and 6 p.m. End of story.
I want to believe you. Ed. But just because somebody says so, don't make it so.
Hello.
And I'm trying to prove it. That your clients were gone, and that Nolan, more importantly, in my mind, was still alive. If that's true, your clients are in the clear. As far as I'm
We
concerned.
are in the clear.
And the CETO call and everything else falls away if I can place him alive at 6 p.m. And the people that want to hang your clients, I can't help their unrequited anger.
Yes.
I don't care, because somebody in my mind was the last person to see Nolan Wells alive, whether it's your clients or somebody else. And I want to find that person that saw
Yes.
this. You say 6 o'clock. Who are they? Make yourselves known. Put us all out of our misery. Help me find out what happened to Nolan.
Yes.
Nancy, can I
I
ask
can
you this?
understand. I'm just
Why
trying
was-
to find out.
Here's my question. Did these two individuals that saw him on that island specify if he was alone or was he walking with someone? To say that after 6 p.m. we saw him on that island, that don't tell me nothing. Who was he with? Was he with anyone? How was he dressed? See, if you can identify it, you can edify it. That's all I'm saying. Bradley says one of the most damning things was the night of the 4th. If Warren called Coast Guard and such, why didn't they go back out to search for their brother? Boom. Boom. That was your brother.
At 10 o'clock at night,
You cared so much. Yes.
they went to sleep.
They were so concerned that they stayed at the party.
Mm-hmm.
And you have his phone. Come on. And you're telling this young man's mother, oh, don't worry, we'll find him. Ooh-wee.
I'm like, Bradley, why didn't they go back out there? What was the problem with that? Especially when they were calling and panicking, like these lawyers are up here pretending they were. And so why didn't they go back out looking for him? What was
Because
the
in
Coast
my
Guard
opinion, he
tonight?
wasn't there to go look in the first place. In my opinion, he wasn't there to go look for.
No, he was on the boat.
You know what? If you guys don't mind, I don't know if you guys saw this whole interview, because at this point, I've seen enough of this interview. But there's something that I want you guys to see. Okay? Put a 1 in the chat if you don't mind me playing this next video of, what's her name? The Pink Panda. I think she is seriously going to town on this case. Okay? And I want you guys to see what she's brought to the table. Okay? I'm going to end this video of Nancy Grace, if you guys don't mind. Okay. Now I want to share my screen. Now, let's see. This will be a video from yesterday. Let me see. Okay. Here we go.
We can't hear.
I'm sorry, you can't hear it?
No.
Uh-oh. Okay. Hold on just a second. Let me... Damn it. Okay. Oh, boy. I may have to disregard this one for some reason. I think it has something to do with the audio that's not playing back. Okay, let me try one more time. Okay. Is that one little... Okay. And I'm going to start it over. But I do need to go back because there's 2 videos. Okay, we're going to start with this one.
Sorry, Cece, you're not feeling well.
I'm sorry?
Cece said she doesn't feel well.
I'm so sorry, Cece.
Yeah.
Okay, love. Get you some rest if you have to, sweetheart.
Yeah, get some rest.
Okay, hold on just a second. Got it. Okay. This is the first video from Nerdy Pink Panda 1 on TikTok. This is the first video from yesterday. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and play this.
I am about to wipe Evil Murr's smile clean off his face because this man is a joke. So yesterday I was playing with the contrast in this picture to try and get a better picture of the pattern on Morgan's swimsuit. I realized that half of this picture is not changing at all when I play with the shadows, which is an indicator to me of a photograph being altered. So then I started scrutinizing this picture because why would I ever have reason to doubt it before? And then that's when I noticed this boat seam underneath all of their legs. You can almost trace it all the way until you get to Nolan. not only are these creases in different places, but there's no shadow, nothing underneath his legs here. In fact, if you look really closely, make sure your brightness is turned all the way up, you can see a seam right here that just stops. And that would connect over here. Then I saw in between this elbow here, look, there is so much fabric that's supposedly his shorts.
Look at that.
Not to mention a very intimate hand placement. I mean, that elbow is going all the way up to them hips. And then look, in between Morgan's legs, like, why does this shadow suddenly stop? You can see a seam here and then nothing. And then look at the way Nolan is holding this can. Got one finger like over the lid, but the can looks really like wide. And then
do you guys see what I'm seeing?
Yeah, look at this. They look chopped off.
Put a 1 in the chat if she's making a very good case of this picture being possibly doctored.
his thumb is on the other side of the lid. Like, how would you hold something like that? Now look at this half of the picture. Notice how Nolan's head is casting a shadow going to the left.
This out,
Same
y'all.
with Eric here. Head casting shadow to the left. Which means right where I am on the screen would be the direction that the sun would be coming from. And yet his shadow is going straight down and his shadow is going straight down and to the right, implying that their light source, their sun, is coming from over here. So is this picture fake? Then I started looking at the photos that they gave to Officer Tatum. Why is Nolan a giant? He and Jax are literally almost the same build and height. And I understand that perspective's a thing, but not when they're this close to each other. Not when the camera is right here. And look, same problem with this one with the shadows. Shadow going this way, shadow going this way, shadow going this way, shadow going this way, shadow going straight up and down, shadow straight up and down, straight up and down, straight up and down, straight up and down, to the left. And this jacuzzi tub looks normal at first until you zoom in. First off, why is his...
Look at that picture of Nolan. Y'all, look at this picture of Nolan's face.
That don't even look like him.
I'll keep going.
Elbow blending into his hat? Why is his chest an Audi? And whose fucking face is that? Because that looks like AI tried to recreate.
Look at those two.
Oh.
Compare them. The teeth are different. The glasses are different. Now, I know they're different pictures of the same people in different locations, but still, your face is not going to... Look how fat his neck is. This is crazy.
Hey, this guy. This is another picture of Nolan with them, and I'm like, why does his eyes look swollen shut? Why his neck as big as his head? But get ready, folks. I'm about ready to blow their little he wasn't on the Triton picture out of the fucking water. Because right here is Morgan's swim trunks. You can see his like beads here, his glasses, his hat. But I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on in this picture. Then I was comparing these two videos and I realized, oh wait, it's a visor. It's a visor hanging off of this. See, there's the bill and like the little like part there. But as I was comparing these two pictures, something fucking hit me. Look at black part, metal, white plastic, metal, visor. Black part, white plastic, no metal pole.
No
Look
metal
at
pole.
the steering wheel. The steering wheel has this like white flap thing that's going on here. What? No, wait. But look, there's the door. There's the door. What's going on here with this leg? I don't know. Now, do you guys see it? Can you see it? Vertical bars, horizontal bars. Vertical, horizontal. And it's not just that the vertical bars are missing. There is no horizontal bar like right here. And not only that, y'all see how there's like this curved bar here? Where's the bar in this picture? It should be going right next to the hat, like right into it. And yet we have nothing here. And I know y'all have lots of questions and I can't pretend like I have any answers to them. I am about to wipe Evil Mur's smile.
Okay, that's part 1. Okay. Now, let's go to part 2.
Now, as a follow-up to my last video, I wanted to show you this. This is from Nolan's mom's Instagram from the day after he went missing. This was the picture that she was sent. So naturally, these two pictures should line up, right? So what I did is I made sure to line up this little like black loopy thing here. I made sure to line up this part of the boat and this like rope here. Now watch. Look at the difference here.
Uh-oh. Look at that. See how that boat
Look at that.
disappeared behind him? Look at that.
He's barely moving. And the entire skyline is different.
Look at the boat behind
You can say,
him.
oh, these are different pictures and like people just moved slightly, but the skyline wouldn't fucking change. So what were they hiding? Because it seems to me they didn't want people to see this boat or this green boat. Like, the skyline doesn't change over here. Look, it's in the same place.
Exactly.
It's just over here. So 100% from the get-go, they were tampering with photographs. Absolutely nothing that they've given anybody can be trusted. And now, as a follow-up to my last video, I wanted to show you this. This is from Nolan's mom's Instagram.
Okay, what do y'all think?
I mean, she's onto something like the sun, you know, how it was shining, his pictures, his neck was fat, you know, it just, some of them didn't look like him.
Is it possible? Is there any possibility that these pictures could have been doctored? Because these are supposedly pictures to corroborate their story.
Their story, just because they got pictures of Nolan, it's still doesn't negate the fact that they left him on an island without a phone. They are responsible for his.
Well, if that's
allegedly
true, yes, that would be questionable, but I really don't believe
there was negligence.
That he was
there
left
was some
behind.
negligence by leaving him on that island without a phone.
Well, that's just it. The argument is that he wasn't left behind. That's what the argument is. They're saying they left him behind.
Oh, no, you left him behind. I don't care how you spin it, square it up, and put it in a pan. If you scrambled eggs.
Lady Latesha, you're saying that you believe that they left him? Or do you believe that he was on the boat?
They didn't leave him. He was on the boat. According to that call that I heard and was hearing Nolan's name, are you breathing? Is he dead? Excuse me, you two. You know, the different things that I was hearing on that call, the main one was the real deal to me. And I heard a lot like he was on that boat. That convinced me 100%.
Okay.
That's undeniable.
Yeah, it just seems that it's more likely, it would make more sense that because of the island being covered with all those people, you would think somebody saw something if something happened to him. And for him to not be seen, for the exception of two people that pop up conveniently a couple days after other information showing, the CETO call and all that stuff. It's more likely than not that he would be.
And if they're innocent, Auntie Mickey, then why don't they allow them to search the boat? See, if I'm innocent, if I say I'm innocent, I have nothing to hide. That means you can ask me whatever question you need to ask me, anything. I'm going to give you the honest truth. And so I shouldn't have to hide. And that's what they're doing, because there should have been an investigation, at least to rule out foul play, like Nancy said.
Right. Well, I mean, you would think in any other circumstances, Jesus, if it wasn't Mississippi, you could probably think that they would conduct a unbiased investigation. But because of Mississippi's history and And I'm actually looking at both things: the history of Mississippi and the behavior.
Of
Point
all the
period.
lawyers, the
The
boys, all of
behavior.
them interviewing and talking and very, to me, arrogant and cocky. Like, I mean, just I didn't do when I listened to your live the other day, I said, listen to these boys. So sure and confident of themselves.
Yeah. Arthur.
And
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, sweetheart.
no. I was
going to say, Arthur Marie says, why is the guy to your right look like he's sitting close to you and Nolan is sitting far back? Are you speaking about that first picture, the picture that the young lady was going over on TikTok?
he did, Arthur. He did look like he was like sitting back and they were kind of up on that when she was doing that light.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could see the boats.
And I could have swore I saw a picture just like that because if I'm not mistaken, the mother submitted the picture that she had, which was that particular picture. But I
Mhm.
recall looking at Nolan's hand holding the can, and it didn't look like that in that picture that I saw. So that
Oh,
picture is different. See, I think that somebody has altered a video, not a video, a picture online. I don't know who altered it, what side or whoever. I don't know. All I know is that the math just ain't mathing. It
it's
really
easy to
isn't.
detect too when someone is altering a picture.
Hmm.
Like she said, the arm placement by the hat.
Yeah.
It's just certain things were just looking weird.
The lining up of the seam and all that, it's just really strange. And she was like laser laser point on that thing. Bradley says, right, Auntie, they find people hanging and are so quick to say no foul play. Ain't that the truth?
Right. Just like the girl that was hung in Mississippi. It was foul play.
Did they see? I haven't heard anything recently about that case.
Foul play in meaning that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, word on the curb, I could be wrong, is that it was her boyfriend or something like that. Someone she knew
Hmm.
that did that to her, that hung her.
So they're saying that there was foul play involved in that particular hanging.
Right.
Okay.
Which was he was the foul play.
Because it seems like every time somebody is found hanging in Mississippi or down south somewhere, they automatically come out. Oh, no reason to believe foul play was involved. This was a self unaliving.
Right. And it was not. And that's what they said.
Okay,
They did start
that's
off with that.
unusual for them. That's unusual for them lately. Let me see. No Ego says, Lady Latesha, you wouldn't turn over any potential evidence to authorities if you haven't been charged with a crime. No one would do that, innocent or guilty.
No, if they asked me and said, just like Nancy Grace, I don't think that I would be trying to hide anything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that, like, if they said, if they needed to investigate. If they need to do a polygraph. That's what I'm trying to say. I
But
wouldn't try to
you
hide.
also need to know your rights too. If
Right.
there's no charges,
Just if I'm not, if I'm innocent,
mhm.
and I know
Well,
that I can prove my innocence.
innocent people unfortunately go to prison
That
doing
is true.
polygraphs when they shouldn't be doing polygraphs because polygraphs are not trustworthy.
That is true. But
Mm.
I still stand on that.
Yeah.
I
Miss-
do. Why would you not want to clear your name?
Well, because in Mississippi, in this particular case, you can't really trust the authorities.
Well, that's
So
different.
I can understand why they're hesitant to turn over any information to these people because they have not been as trustworthy as you would want them to be
Right.
on their
It's,
history and
I
how
know
they're handling this case.
my color. Yes, exactly.
Hmm.
But yes, but them boys, if they wanted to clear their names, they could. They're not trying to. What they're doing is coming on, stating things, and we're supposed to just take their word for it and not check any of the evidence that needs to be checked. And that phone call, that call that we could hear them saying his name and all of that, that should be taken into consideration. That it's foul play. Something is up. Let's check this out, because everything ain't adding up like it should be, like Nancy Grace is saying. So these people should want to clear their name. They're just trying to smooth. This has been going on for 30 days. Let's move on. Let's move on. We're not moving on.
No, because I don't trust y'all. I don't trust. If I was Nolan's mama, I wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw them, based on how they've handled this from the giddy up. With that sheriff, see, he set the tone. He was the first one to set the tone by coming out not an hour after after Nolan's body turned up, and walked out of that building and says, we have no reason to believe that there was foul play. Off the bat, no investigation.
The Supreme Court should be getting involved in something like this. This is a crisis.
Remember who's in office.
Right, I get it.
Let's see. Ms. Hanson says, I thought polygraphs weren't admissible in court. They are admissible, but they're not recommended. There can be an agreement between both parties to admit them into court, so they are admissible, but nobody in their right mind, especially on the defense side, would allow an AI. I mean, not an AI. What am I thinking of? I think I seen the word AI in here. Yeah, that's what a defense would never advise their client to take.
But I'm in Texas, so I might as well be in Mississippi.
Okay. Okay. No Ego says, if you haven't been charged with a crime, you don't have to prove your innocence.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm good then.
Period. The way the law works, a person doesn't have to prove they're innocent at the courts, and the courts have to prove you're guilty. That's how it's supposed to work.
And they're not trying to.
So you never want to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to do you right.
Right. Well, I'm not going to
volunteer because you never want to volunteer to try to prove yourself especially if you haven't been charged with anything. And that's what these boys are doing.
That does make sense. I don't have to prove anything to anyone because I'm innocent. Unless they come at me with warrants and all that. Here, have at it. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. There is now I have one more video to show you of the parents.
Okay.
If you guys want me to play it, I will play it for you, and you can see their latest
what they're doing
review on what happened, because mom gives her account of what happened that night. Okay.
Oh, good.
Hold on just a second. It breaks my heart to see this woman going through this. It really does.
Sweetheart.
Okay.
A person who, no matter where you were in life, what was going on, he was going to be your biggest cheerleader. And I can attest to that because after COVID, my sister was like, oh, you should do social media. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to do social media. I like to just watch others. And then Nolan was like, no, Mom, you should do it. I'll help you with the videos. I got you. And, just anytime I was like, oh, I just really don't want to do this anymore. Nolan was like, no, Mama, you haven't posted today. And I'm like, I don't want to post. I'm tired.
Yeah.
But, that's the kind of person he was. He was God-fearing, God-loving. That boy had faith beyond measure. He was just a bright light. And he was our bright light. As far as that day goes, went to work and he was making salmon. So he was FaceTiming me as I'm trying to see patients kind of in between, of course, not answering the phone in the room. And he's like, hey, Mama, how does this look? Is this enough season? Like, what am I supposed to do with this? And I was like, okay. I was like, you don't have to do that. And he's like, no, I'm going to take care of it. I was like, okay, sure. And so he finishes cooking, get home. He's like, yeah, what you know about this? And he was, guys, when I tell you, he loved to joke. Like, he was just one of those people. He wanted everyone around him to smile, be happy, feel comfortable and accepted. And that is the kind of person God made him. Us as parents, we definitely had that influence, but Nolan was just naturally a peacemaker.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, after that, it was, 8, and then he got ready to go. He did his normal, hugged us up. I love you, Mom. I was like, be safe, knowing this was going to be his last weekend before going back to school because football was starting. The summer training was starting. And this was his second year at Southwest. And so we knew this was going to be a big year for him. Dad and him had been training and doing all these things and really.
No Ego said, do you know if she had a YouTube channel or was it a TikTok page? I understand. Well, she actually goes into a little bit of detail about her social media. She wasn't a big social media person. And actually, Nolan kind of talked her into posting and stuff like that. I'll let her tell the story. Okay. I don't want to put words in her mouth.
Really just kind of sitting with him and letting him know, like, hey, we're going to the next stage in your life as well as, your football career. So the focus was there and he was ready.
So he leaves that day.
He leaves that day with, he drives his car and he told us kind of a general, like, hey, we're going to go to the island. Like, we knew that, staying at Jack's house. And Jax was a friend I think we've met in passing before. And that's the thing, I always say there's a difference in meeting someone, knowing of someone, and then knowing someone. Knowing implies that we've sat down, we've had discussions about your hopes, your dreams, knowing you, okay, hey, he stayed the night at my house, which Wyatt, one of his friends, he had stayed at our house a couple of times. And then Jax, again, that was one I just maybe saw in passing a few times.
Now, this is where we got into this conversation, Lady Latesha, about knowing someone and knowing someone. You can be best friends with someone, and you can even have friends that are not your best friends. Or you can have associates, people that you went to school with from kindergarten on up to high school, and never have a relationship with them, but you know who they are. And this is her breakdown of that.
There's only a handful of young men that we actually knew, like, he grew up with. And when I say grew up, I'm saying from like first grade, they've known each other all through high school now that they're graduated. And that would be like Jalen and Javon, LeBaron. Those are kids that we knew. So it's been hard seeing all this kind of play out.
Yeah.
And, these are people that he considered friends.
Yes. Dad, I want to ask you because it was Warren Hudson, one of the people that he traveled with, who called to alert you all that Nolan was missing.
Yes.
So we know at 5:44 the boat returns. Nolan is not there. At 11 p.m. he calls to say Nolan
his
is
father
missing.
is
I
asleep.
wonder if
Yeah.
either of you, whoever wants to answer, what happened in those few hours that prompted Warren to be concerned?
I'm not quite sure what would prompt him to be concerned, but all I can say is what I did that day. So, me and my sister, we made an order of pancit, which is a Filipino noodle dish for one of our friends. They were having a big family get together, and we really didn't have anything planned for the 4th. So me and my sister are, cleaning up, and this is about 8. And she's like, hey, no one hasn't texted us. And that was the thing. No one was really big with communication with us, right? And so I call him, doesn't answer. I end the call. Call back, and this is probably, I think, maybe around 8. Don't quote me on the times, guys. So then I call again later around 8, still no answer.
So she's trying to contact her son at around 8ish, and no answer to his phone. She says he was very, very big on
Why didn't the
communication.
friends answer the phone since they were looking for Nolan? Remember the attorney just said that they were looking for Nolan at panicking and stuff at one point, but then when his phone rings and his mom is calling, they don't answer the phone.
The guys were never out looking for Nolan, ever.
I know, that was a lie.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, she was trying to contact Nolan just because she hadn't heard from him. He was very high on communication, and she hadn't heard from him, so she tried to call him at about 8.
They know they have his phone.
Exactly. So what does that mean? That means while they're riding around with the phone, it's ringing.
Yeah, I see why this pisses you off. That is just, I would have been a calling fool.
And then I want to say I called one more time, and I think that was at 10:48. So I'm in the kitchen, my phone rings. Now this is probably early 11 o'clock, somewhere around there. Phone rings when I make it back to the phone, and I'm like, whose number is this? Because, we get weird phone calls sometimes. They didn't leave a message. Number pops back up.
No ego. I'm sorry. Drop of the Sea. Drop of the Sea said, wait a minute. Is that the one I want? How did Nolan and the other guys on the Triton know Bart? Sweetheart, I have no idea. I don't know if Nolan knew Bart.
I know that's right.
It was mainly Warren. Warren has been the mouthpiece of the boys, and he's the one that has identified, Bart and all this stuff. And to be truthful, I don't know if Nolan and Bart knew each other prior to or were friends of any kind, because the way that Warren spoke from the very first interview, he always gave the vibe of a separation between Nolan and his buddies. He referred to them as his buddies. So he had his own group of friends, and then there was Nolan. Okay. No Ego says, nobody's staying at my house if I don't so-called know them. You staying with me, I'm going to know your blood type, social security number, and shoes. Amen. Child, listen, my grandparents would never, coming up, they never let me have overnight guests, nor did they ever let me go spend the night at anybody's house. Anybody. And we talking friends right there on the block that we knew. My best friends, I was never allowed. And I always thought that was like, oh, that's so messed up. Everybody else gets to go over everybody else's house and have sleepovers. Now, I am so grateful that they wouldn't let me. I am so grateful. Oh, Miss Hanson, thank you so much for the 10 jewels. Bless your heart. Thank you. I appreciate you, love. Thank you so much. Lady of Elegance says, did you know Nolan's mom was on the island? That is something new just posted. Yeah, I just saw that in the chat. This story is getting crazier by the minute. Everyone Nolan was on that boat. Huh? Everyone Nolan was on that boat dead. I am so sick of the folks lying. Okay, now I understand what you're saying. You know I'm a little slow at reading sometimes. Okay, here we go. Let me start this back up.
I pick up the phone because it says maybe Warren. And I'm like, Warren? So this is 11:07. That's per my cell phone records. So I answered the phone and he's like, hey, Miss Christine, have you seen or talked to Nolan? I said, no. Why? He should be with you guys. And he said, oh, no, well, you know, when we went to the island, there was a girl named Katie that he met and he had decided to stay behind. And I said, what? Because we know our child. And Nolan isn't one to be like, oh, well, I'm just going to throw caution to the wind and I'm going to stay here with this girl that I just met. So I'm on the phone with him. Now I'm in a panic. I'm running into my room. Elmore was in bed watching a different movie. And I'm like frantic. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, Nolan is missing. I'm trying to pull up the GPS as I'm talking to him. And at some point, he tells me that I was like, well, you know, his phone says GPS Life 360, not Snapchat.
Right.
Life 360 says that he's on land. And he was like, well, no, I mean, you know, well, we have his phone. And I'm like,
that's when she found out that Warren had his phone. That is when she found out that they had Nolan's phone.
Wow.
Ask yourself this.
Crazy.
Had she not said, well, I'm looking at Life 360 and it says he's on land, do you think that he would have come clean and said, I have his phone? Because calling her, he never indicated that he has a phone until she indicated that, well, his phone is showing up on land. Oh, well, we have his phone.
That's crazy. That is just.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In all seriousness, No Ego says, in all seriousness, there's people in my immediate family I don't remember ever having a one-on-one conversation with. Everyone categorizes friendships or knowing someone differently. Absolutely, love. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I could see why she went nuts. You're calling me, asking me if I've heard from my son, and now you're telling me that you have his phone? How in the hell is he supposed to call me if you have his phone? Now, let me answer one thing, because people will pop in and say, oh, well, he could have used someone else's phone to call his mom. Well, guess what? I know one phone number by heart right now. In all of my family and all of my friends, I know one phone number by heart, and that is my husband's phone number. Any other phone number I call, I just open my phone and go to my contacts and touch their name. I don't know their number by heart. And 9 times out of 10, that's the case with most people. No Ego, thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. God bless you. I appreciate you. Lisa Bruno said she wouldn't never known that he had the phone if she didn't check the location. Absolutely. See, he had to hurry up and tell her I have his phone, because if they would have come without him telling her that, he might have got his ass beat, to be truthful about it.
Yeah, for real.
He might have got his ass beat, because they did show up at the house. I don't know how many deep, but they showed up deep.
Wow.
Mrs. Hanson says, why didn't they answer when she was calling his phone? Period. Making all kinds of points up in here.
Exactly.
Hold on. There we go.
Wait, what? And I'm like, okay. Because at that point, you're telling me, this is coming from Warren, don't worry about it. We're going to find him. It's going to be okay. Don't tell me not to worry. This is my child, my flesh and blood that I brought into this world. And you're telling me not to worry. Absolutely not. So then it was after the phone call ended, of course, asking him for information. What was he wearing? He was like, last seen, Northwest tip, black shorts, sunglasses. That's important. So I end up calling DMR, spoke with the DMR. She took all
Just for our audience, DMR.
So DMR is because he went missing on the island. They are basically the marine people, right? They're the ones who's going to launch the boats to go into the water and all that.
Okay. Notabot said the phone was in Wyatt's truck. The boys were partying. That don't make him look great. I ain't gonna lie. I'm sorry. He's got the phone. If you allegedly left him at the island, you should have gone back. I mean, I wouldn't have never left him in the first place. But that's your buddy. You love him like a brother. Why didn't you make sure he had his phone before you left the island? And if you realized you still had the phone, you should have went back and said, here, man, you gonna be here? Here's your phone. So I'm sorry. But you guys listen to the rest of this. This is what is going to make these people, and I know it's never going to bring their son back. But when you listen to this back and forth runaround she got, these people are going to be filthy rich. I'm just going to put it like that. When these two get done, they are going to be filthy rich. Y'all can figure out why. Let me just let this keep going.
But before getting off the phone with Warren, he was like, hey, I know some people at Coast Guard. I said, okay. He's like, I'm gonna call Coast Guard, you call DMR. Get on the phone with DMR. I give the young lady the information. And she tells me, hey, I got this. Let me call you back. Because she was like, I'm not sure if this is gonna be in our jurisdiction, essentially. So then she calls back and she tells me, okay, yeah, we spoke with Coast Guard. And I'm like, okay, but they're like, this isn't our jurisdiction. You have to contact the city of Ocean Springs. I said, okay, hang up the phone, call in Ocean Springs Police Department. They say, hey, you have to physically come down and give a report. I said, okay. So on our way, because we don't live that far from the police station, on our way there, I was like, well, let me stop by the hospital because there's a hospital that's maybe 5 minutes up the road from our house. Stop by there. I'm like, hey, have you guys seen this kid? Has he been brought in? The lady's like, no, ma'am. We hadn't. I said, okay, thank you. Run out. We go to the police department, get to the police station. And the officer basically says, again, this is out of our jurisdiction. And at that point, I'm like, my God, who am I supposed to talk to? Who is supposed to help me with this? So then he said, it's going to be, you would have to call DMR. I was like, we've already called DMR. DMR said it's not in their jurisdiction. So we end up, I think at some point I had called Jackson County Sheriff's Office. Yeah. So she calls back and she's like, hey, are you there? I said, yes, we're here. But he's telling us the same thing you guys told us, which is no, we can't take it. She gets on the phone with a police officer. Now this is Jackson County Sheriff's Department speaking with the Ocean Springs Police Department. Ocean Springs Police Department is saying, this is why we can't take this information. She says, okay. He gives me the phone back and she's like, okay, I'm just going to take it. I'm just going to take the information And that was, we met an officer. It was after midnight. Right? Yeah, it was somewhere after midnight.
You know what? I'm sorry. I thought this evening was going to go by a little bit easier than before, with the people coming in here, these trolls coming in here talking stupid. Jim Wilson says Nolan's mom and dad are grifters. You know what I have to say to that? Let me make this very clear. I hope to God you're never in a position like this. What a hateful, trashy thing to say about a woman and a man who just lost their child. Grifters how? Oh, are you part of the cancer that lives in Mississippi? Is that who you are? You can kick rocks. Get the hell up out of my chat right now. See ya. I'm sorry, you guys. I was being nice. I didn't cuss him out.
Met him in the McDonald's parking lot, gave him the information. He was just like, okay, thanks. That I was like, like, where is the urgency? Mm-hmm. And so, as far as we know, there were no boats on the water that night. We actually, his high school football coach, Coach Bramlett, texted Elmore that morning. He said, hey, man, I got a boat. Because, again, we don't have boats. Let me make that very clear. We do not have a boat. We're not boating people. We don't do water like that, okay? So Coach Bramlett's like, hey, I got a boat. So we was like, great, let's go. We're on the water. We go out there. We walk the island. Cell phone works perfectly fine. I actually had almost an entire conversation with.
Not a Bot said the island is like 10 miles off the mainland. They just had issues with the boat almost sinking. Makes no sense to just take it back out to him. Well, here's the thing. When they placed that call saying that their boat was sinking, they were basically anchored to, well, they were ashore. It was 4:00 when they placed the sea tow call. Now, if your boat is sinking and then your grandpa calls the sea tow guy, the captain, and tells him they don't need you, then I guess that means they're no longer sinking, even though they said that they were out there in 31 feet of water, but they actually weren't on 31 feet of water, but they needed an alibi maybe. So they made the phone call at 4:00, but they actually left the island at 4:31. So were they sinking? I'm just saying. That's the question of the day. Were they really sinking?
My grandmother, who was in a panic, as we're walking this island looking for anything.
I just want to pause there. The cell phone worked fine because in the reporting, there's been so much reporting that there's poor cell phone reception. And this is some of the disputes that we have about that night. Dad, feel free to jump in here because they're saying he met this young lady, Katie, and that he stayed back. According to the reporting, Katie is saying no. He said he was going to go with his friends. According to the reporting, the friends say, no, he left us his phone because there was no reception. Dad, have you found any consistencies? Have you spoken directly with any of his friends?
Well, the first inconsistency was you called me and tell me my son stayed on the island to talk to a girl. My son would never do that. That's not in his character. I didn't raise none of my kids to do that. The second thing is you say he doesn't have his phone. He doesn't leave his phone. I would wake up sometimes in the morning and Nolan would have his phone here right in my face. And I'm waking up cussing and fussing like, boy, you don't get the camera on my face. And he just laughing and giggling and stuff like that. So it's twice. To me, there's two lies that he told me as a father. Like I said, we went on the island. And actually, a classmate of mine called me that morning as we were going out to the island with Nolan's coach. He's like 40 miles away. He calls in, hey man, I got the boat. Me and my boys, we're gonna go out there and help you look. I didn't call him, he called me. And we're gonna start on this end. I said, well, we're probably gonna start on the other end. So me, my wife, Coach Bramlett, and a high school classmate of mine were the only we were the first ones out there looking.
My question is this: they said that Warren called the Coast Guard. Maybe I missed that proof. Has anyone out here heard or seen any evidence that he in fact called the Coast Guard right after he got off the phone from Nolan's mother? I'm just curious.
I thought I heard him say that in the interview.
He said that he called the Coast Guard.
I believe he said that in the interview.
But
Yes.
Is there documentation of any kind, any recording, anything? Because we heard the CETO call, but I haven't heard a call with the Coast Guard.
No.
Verify.
Good question.
I'm just curious if there's any verification that there was in fact a Coast Guard call, because the Coast Guard definitely didn't go out that night. It was in the report, Tracy. Do you know what time the call was made? I believe it would have to be after midnight, I would think. I don't know. I'm just trying to understand. Okay.
Like I said, we docked the boat, got out the boat, walked on the island. She had a whole conversation with her grandmother on the island. Got back on the boat,
But there
went
was no
back
cell
around the
phone
island.
coverage.
I guess that would be the north side, facing the Gulf of Mexico. I get another phone call. So my phone worked fine. So this whole thing about not having phone service, I don't know. I don't know if it's the carrier or what, but ours worked fine. I think that was around maybe 8 o'clock.
Yeah, because we finished up around.
Who was it? Jackson County or the
Jackson County Sheriff
finally showed up.
Yeah.
A couple of boats, they finally showed up. By that time, I was like, he's not out here. I was more focused that he was at someone's house.
That was
So that's where my hopes and feelings were. So we left. The county stayed out there. My friend, he stayed out there because he called. He was like, well, we're gonna stay out here a little bit longer. I said, okay, I appreciate it. So we leave. Then I would say maybe a couple hours later, my friend calls me back. He said, well, we're gonna give it and go, but he said, look, I can gas the boat back up, and if you want to go back out there, we can go back out there. I said, I don't want to go back out to the island. I have a feeling that he's not there, and I don't want to go back to the island. So he said, he said, well, if you do, we can go right now. I said, don't worry about it. I appreciate you coming out there. But he said at that time that helicopters were out there, more Coast Guard, more people were out there. So we get back on land, and as far as the keys, what was that night? Or was it
that was that night.
That was the night to call. Okay, let me back up. As far as getting the car back, after we gave our report to Jackson County, the sheriff department that night, we were trying to figure out who to get a report to. We had a friend in the family that located his phone. We wasn't there to get the phone, but apparently there was some kind of friction with getting his phone.
Yeah.
We don't know what the friction was.
So the phone and the key were at the same location, which was Jack's house.
Okay.
And again, all of these kids share their locations on Snapchat. And so she was like, hey, I can go pick his phone up, not thinking that his car is there, which she stopped everything she was doing. Her and the boys, they went out. Like, we were all out searching for him that night. And yeah, like Elmore was saying, there was an issue, some type of friction.
So apparently, let me get this straight. Correct me if I'm wrong. They just said that the phone and the keys were at Jack's house. And Warren is the one that said, we have the phone. So Warren spent the night at Jack's house? Is that what I'm getting here? Because where was the party at? Was the party at Jack's house as well?
No, he said he spent the night at home because his stepfather woke him up.
Okay. There's just so much going on here. It's just hard
Yeah.
to keep up with. Okay.
The cops ended up coming and they left. And so then kind of the same thing when we came to pick up the key, Elmore went up there asking for the key, didn't know where the key was. And all of a sudden we know where the key is.
But see, hold on. But see, this and this is another thing that bothered me too. When we got to the house, it was some of his other friends were there, and they were, beating on the door like, "What Nolan there? What Nolan there?" Beating on the door trying to get in the house. So I walk up to the door and I'm calming them down because for one, okay, you're loud. Two, you're in these people's house. So if you tear these people's house up, that's gonna be a whole nother issue. I don't want y'all bothering it. And three, I need you guys to calm down. And I need them to kind of trust me as being an adult so I can get something out of them. So I get them out the house. And then Jax finally comes down the stairs, I guess in the room. Hair all messed up like he just woke up, whatever. I said, look, I'm Nolan's father. His car's outside. I need to get his car and all his personal effects that may be left over with. And he goes, oh man, Nolan was like my brother. I said, Nolan was like my brother. I said, well, if Nolan was like your brother, would you please go and get everything?
What?
Man, Nolan
was past
like,
tense.
Nolan was like my brother.
Me? There it is. Another smoking gun right there.
Nolan was like my brother. Not Nolan is like my brother.
Was.
Nolan was like
something happened.
My brother.
Was.
Meaning
was? So what
no
happened to him?
longer.
That's what I would have asked. He was? So what happened? He was?
The only way you can say something like that is number one,
you
done fell out and you guys are no longer friends. Or number two, he's no longer on Earth.
He's no longer on Earth because he spent the night with Zach or Pac, whatever his name was, the night before. And everything was cool and copacetic. Then the next day, you're talking about he was
like my brother.
Girlfriend. No, sir. Something went down. And he knows.
Yeah, because he had the phone and the keys when the father came to get it. Wow. Someone said the devil's in the details. Yep, just woke up. Freudian slip. Okay. Ms. Hanson said he just gave themselves up.
The smoking gun. He was.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay. Let's keep going.
Years, so I can get his car. I can go home. So he walks off. 2 or 3 minutes later, he come back. I don't see the keys. Okay. So I leave out the house, go back outside, stand by the car. During that time, one of the guys that was in the house, one of the other friends, he was on the phone with a girl who was apparently there with them earlier that day. And she was telling him that his keys was on top of the Xbox in his room. So he goes back up to the door by himself, and we're still out by the car. And lo and behold, here comes the keys. So now to me, you lied to me 3 times. I don't believe nothing that you tell me from here on out.
And this is Jax.
This is Jax.
And eventually he does give you the keys.
Yeah, eventually give me
But
the
there was
keys.
friction getting the keys.
Yes. So
Not a bot. You said 11 p.m. Friend contacts Coast Guard. 11:07. Warren calls Nolan's mother. 11:50 p.m. MDMR receives notification of Nolan being missing. Okay. I thought you were saying that. I misread. I thought you were saying that Warren called mother at 11:50. So I misread that, sweetheart. Sorry about that.
for one, you tell me my son is on left stay on the island with a girl. 2, you have his phone. And 3, you don't give me the keys when I ask. I don't know any father who would believe just if one of my friends did that. I'm gonna be cordial with you, but I'm gonna watch you. And
Ben, I want to ask you, because I'm hearing these 2 parents who essentially had to become search and rescue or law enforcement, looking for their own child with such a lack of urgency on behalf of law enforcement. Obviously, we're talking to Black journalists. We can't ignore the ugly racial history of Mississippi. I looked into the demographics of the Jackson County Sheriff Department. It's quite asymmetrical, but also just the general attitude and the lack of value when it comes to Black life. Does this sound like a normal process for when an 18-year-old goes missing to you? What holes have you seen in your looking into this case?
That's the part that gets me. The total disregard from the authorities as this woman is trying desperately to find her son, and she's being passed around. I mean, passed around with no real urgency at all. No, I'm sorry, that's not our jurisdiction. You're going to have to talk to so-and-so. I just talked to so-and-so. They sent me to you. And I'm just going to say lawsuit. Big old lawsuit. Big old lawsuit. My God.
Tiffany, that was the question that Christine and Elmore had when they first called us. They wanted the truth of what happened to their 18-year-old son, Nolan Wells. And they had concerns whether they were going to get a fair and impartial investigation. And from that day to this one, it has been the same objective: to have truth, transparency, and find out what happened to Nolan. They said, we want a thorough investigation, because when they found Nolan, they expressed to me that the sheriff had already said no foul play. And they was like, no.
Okay, Benny Hot Stepper. He wants attention. Bless your heart, sweetheart. And tell me, sweetheart, how is Crump the devil? You want to elaborate on that for me? You want to jump? You want to feel froggy and jump? How is Crump the devil? Trying to find out what happened to this couple's son. How is he the devil in all this? Or is it you that is the devil? Is that what the problem is? You the devil, or you just need attention? Let me give you the attention you need, you stank bastard motherfucker. Get the hell out of my chat and go suck on something. You choose. See ya. I'm sorry, y'all. People that want to have some people want attention, and I'll give it to them. Sometimes that one needed it.
Our son, he knows how to swim. Our son is a college athlete. Our son is in great shape. We don't believe that he just drowned and nobody knows nothing. Nobody saw nothing. I mean, there are about 300, 400 people on the island. And so that's what they were saying. We want to know what happened. We want truth. We want transparency. We don't want his death to be swept under the rug.
Well, just so to make sure the audience and the people watching at home know, so they did declare very quickly, as you're noting, that he drowned when his body was recovered on July 6th. Mom and dad and you all know that he is a student athlete, able to swim. On July 4th on Horn Island, it was very crowded. Certainly the suggestion is someone would have seen a child in distress. There is going to be the convening of a grand jury. Now, the DA of this area, Angel Myers McElrath, is a very out loud, proud Republican. If there is a U.S. attorney appointed to this case, it will likely be a Trump appointee. I'm just curious, Ben, from you and Rev, I think we have to be very candid here. What concerns do you have about the racial animus that we are seeing so much of play in this case?
Well,
you or Rev, whoever.
All I'll say, and then defer to Rev, you want to believe that this is a child, that everybody is going to do their level best to find out what happened so these brokenhearted parents will know what happened to their child. In time, we've seen Christine and the family be attacked just for asking questions. What happened to my child? Trying to say, no, we want to question this part of the investigation, that part of the investigation, because day one you said no foul play, but tell me now, what are you doing to be able to get us to the truth? And that is, it causes them sleepless nights. We talk at night. And so trust, but verify. We are trying to cooperate everything we can do to say, hey, we want to help, but we want you to give them a thorough investigation. We want you to do for him what you would do for your child.
Rev, I'm going to come to you in a sec, but you brought up something, Ben, about attacks. And certainly as journalists, we have a keen eye, and I have noticed that the narrative around this story has shifted to the threats that are going to the young men who was with Nolan. They've hired attorneys who previously represented Donald Trump in cases. They've gone on very MAGA-friendly podcasts. And I just want to make sure that we keep the main thing.
Excuse me, Notabot said, if Mississippi is so racist, why wouldn't they just leave the state? Well, there's several reasons why people wouldn't be able to leave the state or don't leave the state. A lot of those people were born and raised there, and that's all they know. There are many people that live there that are not able to just get up and move. It's a matter of economics. So sometimes you just have to make do where you are. Okay? That doesn't mean that, oh, well, it must be okay because they still stick around. Some people are unable to. I'm sure there's a lot of people in Mississippi that wish they could leave. No one should be made to feel like they're not safe in their home. Absolutely.
The narrative to the victim, to the actual child who died. And I'm curious, Christine, if you can weigh in on what threats have you and your family experienced?
So there have been a big smear campaign, just not only professionally, but personally for me. And
They attacked your nursing license.
yes, so it started out with 1-star reviews of people saying they saw me. My office verified that these were incorrect. And then it went so much as to someone contacted the Board of Nursing, and then that opened the investigation for the professional misconduct. There was no evidence presented for that claim. And the investigator I spoke with, he said, we have to do our due diligence. I said, I understand it. I respect it. He was like, I'm sorry it's coming at this time. I was like, no, I get it. Do what you have to do, because I know who I am. I know what kind of care I give to my patients. I know the relationship that we have. And I'm grateful that my patients, a lot of them are still trusting and loving in the care that they know they're going to get with me. And so these attacks are not going to, it's not going to break me. I have to find out. We have to find out what happened to Nolan. That is the only question we've ever asked. We've never blamed anyone. We've never tried to smear anyone. I know I heard something about the picture. That picture was sent to me because
this is a picture of him on the boat.
On the boat with people.
Yes.
And what it was is they were like, the person was like, Miss Christine, the information is incorrect. This is what he was wearing. Because initially he was in black shorts, which again, that is the information I received from Warren verbally and via text. When she sent me that picture, I was like, oh, completely different color. These are like a blue-gray short. So we had to correct that. But I'm grateful. We are grateful to all of you. Thank you for keeping our son's story alive. And thank you so much, Tiffany, for having us.
I think that's part of our assignment here, our responsibility. So often in newsrooms, we have to defend and define Black life and defend and define our own humanity. And so it makes a difference. The same way in other newsrooms, when you see someone and you feel like they're familiar, that so happens as they resegregate newsrooms and lay off Black journalists en masse, that goes away. So the people in this room have a keen interest in this story because they see your humanity. And that's what we center in this conversation. Rev, put this in historical context for us, because as I look at Mississippi, I don't have to tell you of all people some of the immediate thoughts that surface for us here.
Well, when I got the call from Ben Crump and he had the parents connected and they told me the story, I'd not heard the story. I heard something about some in Mississippi. But when I heard the details, the thing that jarred me from a civil rights point of view, and I've been working, Ben has come National Action Network for.
I-roll, is that the name? Is that how you pronounce it? I-roll or Areola, whatever your name is. Thank you for making me famous off the death of my son, who I had no idea who his friends were because I'm too busy trying to get famous on TikTok. I-roll, fuck you up your ass. You hear me? All up your ass, your mammy's ass, your daddy's ass, and anybody else you love to your heart, okay? Fuck you. Get the fuck out of my chat. Evil bastard.
20-some years with a case, and then from there on and on and on. And if it's not a civil rights position, we don't get involved. When they told me that law enforcement said there is no foul play, that's a prejudgment. And I said, wait a minute. They said, the parents repeated to me on the phone, I said, they said it was, this 2 days after it happened. And how do you investigate and there's no foul play and you don't even know what happened yet? So that's what perked my interest. So I said that, well, we'll be involved and we'll help to the best of our ability. Talked another day or two. I said, y'all come to New York, we'll have a national press conference. That's how we broke the story. The first national press conference they did at our headquarters, National Action Network. And then all of a sudden, it was all of this attack for getting involved. And so and they asked me to do the eulogy. I said, we'll take care of the funeral. Tyler Perry called me and said, no, I'll take care of it. So the thing that bothered me, one, it was prejudgment. Second, the parents of the guys that were with him started talking about they was going to sue us for getting involved. And sue, I don't even know the kid's name. So you can't say I defame your son. I don't know your son's name. But I will say this on this stage, I want them to sue me first. And I'll tell you why. No, I'll tell you why. And National Action Network, you serve the papers, because I want to depose your son. If you sue, the plaintiffs are deposed. So rather than us depend on a Mississippi DA who's already had people saying it was no foul, let's go to civil court, any kind of court you want to go to, because you can't make this make sense. And direct to your point, Tiffany, as I said in the eulogy that I did, I don't know what happened. The parents never said they knew what happened. They never said it was racial. I don't know it was racist, but they don't know it wasn't racist. You don't know what happened. So why are you prejudging it unless something is there you don't want out? Second thing is, and I said this to Elmer and Kristen, I had hurt my knee. I had torn my meniscus. And when I tore it, I told Ben the truth. I did it working out one morning, but I told them I got it because I was on my knees praying too much. But anyway, when they took me to say they may have to do surgery, the first thing they said is, well, we got to get your medical history from your primary doctor. I said, okay. So I said in the eulogy that I don't know what happened, but I got your history in Mississippi. And the history tells me black boy go out with 3 white kids, 3 white kids come back. There's a blurred story on what happened. Now y'all all hostile and all upset. Didn't have the keys, but then you had the keys. Some about this don't make sense given your history. And I'm gonna stay on this until we find out what happened. It may be nothing, but we're not gonna leave that up to chance with people that are distorted. We gonna stay on this case. And lastly, since they want to talk about lawsuits, one of the things tying your morning together, Tiffany, they may come back, as you suggested, playing right-wing politics with this, with the local prosecutor, maybe even with the federal people. But if we have a change in January and there is a Democratic House, I said that if Hakeem becomes the speaker, he needs to have the chair of judiciary subpoena them to the Judiciary Department, testify. No, that's what this vote means. We need to have a check and balance of government so that we got somewhere to go. We can't depend to go to Trump's Justice Department. So we need to really mobilize so people like these 2 parents can protect their children.
All right. Well, that did it. Hold on just a second. Let me stop this. Well, you guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this evening. Despite a lot of differences of opinion, everybody's entitled to their opinion, okay? And wherever you sit in this particular opinion is between you and the Lord, okay? We've been sitting here over 3 hours, going on 4. Lady Latesha, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Is there anything you want to say?
Thanks for having me, guys. This was wonderful. I really enjoyed it, Auntie Mickey. And thank you again for having me.
Thank you so much. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on? Because I know this was supposed to be hot topics, and I apologize for going over.
It's a little late for hot topics. We'll reconvene next week with hot topics.
Maybe we can get together tomorrow. Who knows?
Okay.
We can always wing it. But thank you so much, sweetheart. You are always a pleasure to have, and it's always
Thanks
a
for
pleasure.
having me.
I'm so grateful to be able to call you friend and sister.
Oh,
So
thank you. Thank you.
that's it, you guys. Everybody have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful weekend. God bless you. And stay strong. Keep Nolan's name out there. Please, let's not let this die down. That's what folks want to happen. But we're not going to let that happen, okay? So with all that said, God bless and have a good one. Good night.
Hey there, my kinfolk, thanks for stopping by. Auntie Mickey's house, where we reach for the sky. Every comment and smile, you make my heart glow. Together we're strong, together we grow. From gossip to politics, we cover it all. Sharing laughs and thoughts, having a ball. Your support means everything that I know. Feels like family here in this sweet show. So let's keep it flowing, keep the love alive. Every moment together makes me thrive. You're more than viewers, you're my kinfolk. You see, my gratitude runs deep as the sea. Thank you for being here, for sharing your time with each comment, with each rhyme. You're my kinfolk, my family, my crew. So much love to all of you. Turn up the camera, let's make it bright. Your support lifts me up, takes flight.